Chapter 1497. The old man leaned on his walking stick, looking very angry. He asked Lin Tian what had happened. This Huai tree forest, which was very important to their village, was actually destroyed to such an extent. He looked at the collapsed Huai tree forest and the ruined land around him. He was so angry that he repeatedly pounded the ground with his walking stick. It was hard to imagine how the person who did this could destroy this place to such an extent. It was as if they had encountered a huge natural disaster. Then, in the next moment, his gaze fell on Lin Tian. Suddenly, he saw the blood-stained snow wolf beside Lin Tian. For a moment, his expression changed. Looking at the blood-stained snow wolf, his face was full of shock. At the same time, in this place, the other angry villagers who had walked out of the village also saw the snow wolf beside Lin Tian. Every one of them was moved. Snow wolf? It is... Why does it look so similar to the snow wolf that was passed down in the village? Looking at the blood-stained snow wolf, many of the villagers turned pale. This village had received countless kindness and grace from the witch, and the entire village had undergone great changes. That year, after the witch passed away, the snow wolf that was built and erected a tombstone for the witch had been painted by an old artist in the village. The portrait had been preserved and passed down until now. Everyone in the village had seen that portrait. After so many years, the portrait was not as clear as before, but they could still see that the snow wolf in the portrait was exactly the same as the snow wolf beside Lin Tian. It's really it? But how is that possible? That was so many years ago. How could it be alive now? All the villagers were shocked. What would happen to it? How did it get hurt so badly? Were you bitten by other beasts? Someone looked at the snow wolf, his voice trembling slightly. The snow wolf's injuries were too severe. His entire body was covered in blood, and in many places, even his bones and internal organs could be seen. To these ordinary villagers, such injuries were truly horrifying. At the same time, when they saw that this snow wolf was exactly the same as the snow wolf that had erected the witch's tomb and monument, they felt a sense of familiarity, even though they were not sure if this was really the same snow wolf that had erected the witch's tomb and monument. Now, seeing that the snow wolf was so severely injured and on the verge of death, they could not help but feel a little distressed. Snow Wolf was severely injured, and his life force was constantly weakening. He didn't move at all, only staring at the witch's tomb without blinking. That place seemed to be all there was to it. Lin Tian looked at the snow wolf, not knowing what to say. He knew that this snow wolf had been saved by the witch and had always remembered the witch's kindness. He wanted to repay the witch's kindness. When the witch passed away, he tearfully built her tomb and erected a monument for her. The witch had lamented that she wanted to see the scenery when the 1,000 Illusions sacred orchid bloomed. He had been guarding the 1,000 Illusions sacred orchid sapling, waiting for it to bloom. Then he had risked his life to bring it here. Even now, he was severely injured and on the verge of death. The 1,000 Illusions sacred orchid could heal him, but for the sake of gratitude, he would rather die so that the scenery of the 1,000 Illusions sacred orchid would last longer in front of the witch's tomb. He had rejected his kindness to help him refine the 1,000 Illusions sacred orchid. What else could he say? He could only be deeply moved by the snow wolf's actions. Suddenly, footsteps sounded. Outside the Huai tree forest, the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 independent true immortals began to approach. The 5 true immortals' gazes fell on the 1,000 Illusions sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb. Their pace was not fast. The 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty formed a camp, while the 2 independent true immortals formed another camp. There were 3 camps in total. As they approached the 1,000 Illusions sacred orchid, they were vigilant against each other. Lin Tian tilted his head and saw the 5 approaching. Naturally, he knew what they wanted to do. They all wanted to seize the 1,000 Illusions sacred orchid. Old man, take the other villagers back to the village. He looked at the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 independent true immortals and said to the old man with the crutch, "I'll explain the destruction of this place later." He took one last look at the severely injured snow wolf and stopped using the nirvana of the sun. He stood up and looked at the 3 true immortals of the Manway dynasty and the 2 independent true immortals who were approaching from outside the Huai tree forest. These 5 people wanted to seize the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid at this time. He would not let them succeed. "You want to fight?" Wuxing Crocodile asked. He naturally knew what Lin Tian wanted to do. He wanted to stop the 5 true immortals from seizing the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid. Lin Tian nodded. "You and the little guy stay here and protect this place. Protect the severely injured guy, the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid, the witch's tomb, and the villagers here." That year, the witch silently dedicated the rest of her life to the village. She gave everything to the village just to repay the kindness of the old woman in the village. This snow wolf had guarded the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid for tens of thousands of years. He risked his life to bring the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid to the witch's tomb. He would rather die than refine the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid to heal himself. He wanted the scenery of the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid to last longer in front of the witch's tomb. It was all for the sake of the witch who saved him. No matter if it was the former or the latter, they all valued the word kindness very much. And no matter if it was the former or the latter, what they did for the word kindness moved him. Especially this snow wolf. What the other party did for the witch even made him feel a little suffocated in his chest. At this moment, whether it was for the witch's desire to see the scenery of the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid blooming, or for the snow wolf's wish of willing to die, so that the scenery of the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid blooming can last longer in front of the witch's tomb, he had to fight. He would not let anyone touch the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb at this time. Moreover, not long ago, Wuxing Crocodile and little Taichu were all in this place because of the sound left behind by the witch when she played the zither. It could be said that the witch had given them a favor across the river of time. Even if it was only for this favor across time, he had a reason to protect everything related to the witch. "Don't worry. Lord Crocodile and the little guy will definitely protect this place well," Wuxing Crocodile said solemnly. At this time, Lin Tian wanted to stop 5 true immortals at the same time with his own strength. It did not ask Lin Tian if he could stop them, because Lin Tian had already said before that with the help of the ultimate elixir and some other methods, he could now fight with a true immortal powerhouse. And it was even more clear that even if Lin Tian did not have the ability to fight with a true immortal powerhouse now, he would still make a move at this time because he knew Lin Tian very well. He knew very well that Lin Tian was a person of passion. After knowing the relationship between the witch, the village, and this snow wolf, and knowing what the snow wolf had done for the witch, it was impossible for him to stand by and do nothing. "Yeah, don't worry." Little Taichu made a sound with a serious expression, expressing the same meaning as Wuxing Crocodile. Such a scene made the old man with the crutch change his expression immediately. "They're talking?" He looked at Wuxing Crocodile in shock. Before this, he had seen Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu following Lin Tian and thought that Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu were Lin Tian's pets. He did not expect that at this time, these 2 pets in his eyes would open their mouths and speak human language. At the same time, the other villagers were also shocked. Obviously, they were also shocked by the Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu speaking human language. For these ordinary villagers, this was really too inconceivable for animals to speak. Lin Tian saw the shock in the eyes of these villagers, but did not say anything. Instead, he walked toward the 5 true immortals. "You want to stop us from taking the divine orchid?" Seeing Lin Tian's action, the 5 people knew that Lin Tian did not want to take the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid for himself. Lin Tian was guarding Snow Wolf just now. If he wanted to take the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid, he would have already taken it and left. They could see that Lin Tian seemed to have some kind of relationship with the Snow Wolf. At this time, he just wanted to stop the 5 of them from taking the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid. In front of the witch's tomb, Snow Wolf's body could no longer move. Its life force was constantly fading away. At this time, its gaze shifted from the witch's tomb to Lin Tian. Its lifeless eyes flickered slightly. At first, when Lin Tian approached, it thought that Lin Tian wanted to take the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid. However, Lin Tian did not. Now, Lin Tian was facing off against the 5 true immortals alone. Obviously, he wanted to protect the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid for it. Endless gratitude appeared in its eyes. Oomph! A cold voice rang out, intertwined with coldness and killing intent. The 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty wore purple robes, blue robes, and golden robes respectively. Among them, the blue-robed elder looked coldly at Lin Tian and said, "You have offended the Manwei dynasty and attacked us secretly. No matter which one of you was the culprit, you have already committed a crime punishable by death. Later, we will destroy your body and soul. Now, you dare to stand in front of us?" The purple-robed elder and blue-robed elder of this lineage also had cold gazes, and the killing intent in their eyes was not concealed at all. At the same time, the other 2 true immortals were no exception. The 5 of them did not change their pace at all. They slowly walked into the Huai forest. Their slow pace was naturally not because they were wary of Lin Tian's obstruction. Although Lin Tian had sent them flying with 5 streaks of sword radiance, they did not pay much attention to Lin Tian. Although the 5 streaks of sword radiance had sent them flying, they had not been able to injure them. This made them feel that Lin Tian's current combat strength was not a threat to them. At this moment, they were walking slowly into the Huai forest because they were wary of the other true immortals besides themselves. Lin Tian watched the 5 of them stride towards him from the center of the Huai forest and walked directly towards them. There was a flash of light, and the immortal Emperor Pagoda emerged from his body, intertwined with purple primordial chi. Then, in the next moment, a surge of white divine light emerged from the immortal Emperor Pagoda and surged into his body. Chapter 1498. The immortal Emperor Pagoda was only about 3 inches long. Purple primordial light surged around it with a majestic aura that seemed capable of suppressing everything. Wisps of pure white light poured out of the pagoda and into Lin Tian's body, intertwining with a divine aura. This is Primordial Mother Chi. The 3 genuine immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 itinerant genuine immortals stared at the immortal Emperor Pagoda, their expressions changing. They didn't know what the white light that surged out of the immortal Emperor Pagoda was, but they recognized the purple divine light that interweaved outside the immortal Emperor Pagoda. They recognized that it was the legendary primordial origin chi, and it was terrifyingly dense. Could it be that this pagoda was forged from primordial heavenly crystal? Primordial Mother Chi. With such concentrated primordial Mother Chi, it can't be wrong. It's definitely forged from primordial heavenly crystal. The 5 genuine immortals trembled. Primordial heavenly crystal was the legendary ultimate holy object for forging weapons. Weapons forged from it were almost indestructible and could grow infinitely. It could be said that it was the embryonic model of a supreme emperor weapon. Now, Lin Tian, who was standing in front of them, was in possession of a pagoda forged from primordial heavenly crystal. At the same time, the old man with the walking stick and the other villagers turned pale. Many of them couldn't help but tremble. This was not because the villagers were like the 3 true immortals from the Wanwei dynasty and the 2 true immortals who were shocked to see that the immortal Emperor Pagoda was made out of Hong Meng heavenly crystal. They were shocked to see a pagoda rush out of Lin Tian's body. Moreover, the pagoda was emitting rays of white light. This scene was too bizarre for ordinary mortals. They could not understand what was going on. You are, the old man with the walking stick couldn't help but ask the whooshing crocodile. The Huai tree forest in this place was destroyed, and when they rushed out, they immediately saw the 1,000 illusion orchid bringing out a sky full of strange images. Then, they saw the 5 elements crocodile and little Tai Chu speaking even though they were clearly not humans. Now, they saw a pagoda rushing out of Lin Tian's body and blossoming with resplendent white light. Such a scene was simply too inconceivable for ordinary people like them. They had never seen such a thing. Our existence may be very different from the people, things, and things you normally come into contact with. But, old man, you have to believe that the little guy next to me, the snow wolf in front of the witch's tomb, and the guy with the pagoda on his head are not bad people. Just as you were shocked before, The snow wolf in front of the witch's tomb is the snow wolf saved by the witch in your village. He is the snow wolf who built the monument for the witch's tomb. When the whooshing crocodile spoke, it naturally saw the villagers' shocked expressions when they saw the snow wolf. At this time, it looked at the dying snow wolf lying in front of the witch's tomb and continued, "This guy has been guarding this god orchid for countless years. After it matured and bloomed, it desperately brought it here, just because the witch said that she wanted to see the scenery when the god orchid in front of the witch's tomb bloomed. At this time, it was on the brink of death and would have been able to recover if it had consumed this god orchid, but it didn't do so. It would rather die, so that the scenes of the god orchid blooming would linger around your lady witch's tomb for a long time." "What? You said, he is the snow wolf who built the witch's tomb and erected the monument? Is this true? How is this possible?" When they heard the whooshing crocodile's words, whether it was the old man with the crutch or the other villagers, all of their expressions changed. Just now, they had seen that the bloody snow wolf was exactly the same as the snow wolf who built the witch's tomb and erected the monument in the painting that had been passed down in their village. They had all guessed that the snow wolf in front of them was the same snow wolf who built the witch's tomb and erected the monument. However, it was only a guess, and no one believed it to be true. This was because the witch had existed for too long, at least tens of thousands of years. How could a snow wolf from that era survive until now? To them, this was too ridiculous. How could he have lived for so long? Wolves can live for at most 15 years, but The old man with the crutch looked at the bloody snow wolf lying in front of the witch's tomb with a face full of disbelief. "Old man, don't look at lifespan from the perspective of an ordinary person. It doesn't apply to creatures like us. The number of years we can live is far beyond what you can imagine." Whooshing crocodile said, "Haven't you seen it now? I can speak. The blooming of the divine orchid can create a sky full of strange phenomena, and the guy in front of you can control objects with his mind. The objects he controls can emit such a bright light. Seeing this, you shouldn't doubt my words anymore. The snow wolf in front of you is the same snow wolf who built the witch's tomb and erected the monument." Before he said this, he knew that it would have a huge impact on these villagers, but he still said it in a simple and detailed manner. This was because this village had a very close relationship with that witch and had received endless favors from that witch. Moreover, the snow wolf was so heavily injured because of that witch. Therefore, he felt that even if it would cause a huge impact on these villagers' worldview, he should let them know. They had the right to know. The old man with the crutch couldn't help but tremble. He looked at whooshing crocodile, and then looked at the bloody snow wolf in front of the witch's tomb. He couldn't help but walk over and squat down. He reached out his hand to stroke the snow wolf. His old hand trembled slightly. At the same time, some of the other villagers who heard whooshing crocodile's words also trembled slightly. Many of them surrounded the snow wolf in front of the witch's tomb. Their expressions changed, and their eyes couldn't help but flicker violently. At this time, all of them no longer doubted whooshing crocodile's words. They completely believed that the snow wolf in front of them was the snow wolf who built the witch's tomb and erected the monument. This was because the scene they saw now was beyond their scope of understanding. Therefore, this snow wolf was the snow wolf who built the witch's tomb and erected the monument. What was there to doubt? Why would whooshing crocodile make up such a lie to deceive them? Most importantly, the snow wolf in front of them was exactly the same as the snow wolf in the painting passed down in their village. Who is it who injured it like this? The old man with the crutch was so angry that his eyes turned red. This snow wolf was the most important snow wolf in the history of their village. It was the snow wolf who saved the life of the most important witch in the history of their village. It was the snow wolf who built the witch's tomb and erected the monument. It was naturally related to their village and was almost equivalent to their village's ancestor. However, now it was so seriously injured and looked like it would die soon. How could he not be angry? Beside him, the other villagers were also extremely angry. Everyone surrounded the snow wolf, and many of them couldn't help but shed tears. These ordinary villagers didn't know anything about the cultivation world. They were shocked that a single orchid could weave such an amazing sea of flowers. They were shocked that Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu could speak human language even though they weren't human. They were shocked that a tower had rushed out of Lin Tian's body. They were even more shocked that the Snow Wolf, who had once built the witch's tomb and erected the monument, had survived until now. These things were completely incompatible with the world they knew. It was like a dream. However, at this time, after they believed Whooshing Crocodile's words and confirmed that the Snow Wolf in front of them was the same one who had built the witch's tomb and erected the monument, they were all attracted by the blood-stained Snow Wolf. They were all angry about the Snow Wolf's injury, and many of them clenched their fists. They were ordinary people without powerful strength, but it was precisely because of this that their feelings for everything were many times stronger than many powerful cultivators. Even if everything that the 5 elements crocodile said was only an illusory story, it would still cause these people to be moved, sad, and angry. Needless to say, this matter was not just a story but a fact, and the Snow Wolf had a huge relationship with their village. Who else could it be? Of course it's those 5 old bastards. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes fell on the 5 true immortals who were staring at the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head, and said, "The locust tree forest here was also destroyed by the 5 of them." The villagers followed Whooshing Crocodile's gaze and looked at the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 rogue true immortals, their faces filled with anger. You, why did you do such a thing? Bastards! You bastards! Demons! Many of the villagers shouted angrily at the 5 true immortals. These 5 people had actually injured the Snow Wolf who had built the tomb and erected the monument for the most important witch in their village. They had even destroyed the resting place of the most important witch in their village. The 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 rogue true immortals were shocked by the immortal Emperor Pagoda that Lin Tian had summoned. They stared at the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head and listened to the angry shouts of the villagers. A cold light flashed in their eyes. "A bunch of lowly mortal ants. How dare you shout at me?" Among them, the rogue true immortal in black armor said coldly. 2 beams of killing light shot out from his eyes and pierced through the villagers. The 2 beams of killing light were very strong and directly crushed a large part of the void. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out. Lin Tian waved his hand, and 2 beams of sword light slashed out, shattering the 2 beams of killing light that the black-armored true immortal had summoned towards the villagers. The black-armored true immortal was shocked. Although the 2 beams of killing light that he had summoned were not very strong, they were not weak either. They were enough to kill anyone below the true immortal level. But now, Lin Tian, who had not reached the true immortal level of cultivation, had actually shattered the 2 beams of killing light so easily. Above Lin Tian's head, the immortal Emperor Pagoda intertwined with an extremely dense pure white light and continuously poured into his body. He tilted his head and looked at the black-armored true immortal with cold eyes. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out again. It was very ear-piercing. A beam of sword light appeared beside him and shot out like lightning. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived in front of the black-armored true immortal. The black-armored true immortal was shocked. "You, Puff!" Chapter 1499. The black-armored true immortal was sent flying thousands of feet away. Bright red blood splattered in the air. It was a ghastly sight. The 3 true immortals from the Manwei dynasty, who were closest to the scene, and the brown-haired true immortal, who was an itinerant cultivator, were shocked. Lin Tian had also slashed out 5 streaks of sword light. Although they had been sent flying, they had not been injured. After all, they were all true immortals. But now, after Lin Tian had shattered the black-armored true immortal's killing light, he had pierced through his opponent's chest with 1 sword strike. This shocked them. Now, they could see that Lin Tian's cultivation was far from the true immortal realm. Without the cultivation of the true immortal realm, he was able to slash out such a powerful sword strike and pierce through a true immortal realm expert. At the same time, all the villagers in the Huai tree forest turned pale when they saw the black-armored true immortal's chest pierced through by a sword strike and blood splattered everywhere. This. Someone's voice trembled. These villagers were furious at the black-armored true immortal and the other 4 true immortals because Snow Wolf, who had a close relationship with their village, had been severely injured. But at this time, many of them could not help but tremble when they saw Lin Tianyi's sword pierce through the black-armored true immortal and blood splattering everywhere. Their feelings of horror were much stronger than their feelings of satisfaction. After all, they were all ordinary people. How could ordinary people not be frightened when they saw a person's chest pierced through and blood splattered everywhere? Whooshing Crocodile's eyes flashed. He stared unblinkingly at the pure white light gushing out of the immortal Emperor Pagoda that was suspended above Lin Tian's head. This is the power of faith that this kid mentioned before. Seeing this, he finally understood what Lin Tian had said about the other methods and reliance apart from the Celestial Connection Pill. The Celestial Connection Pill has increased his battle prowess by 10 times in all aspects, and the power of faith seems to have caused his battle prowess to skyrocket once more. With these 2 methods combined, he now has the power to injure true immortals. He can fight against true immortals. When Lin Tian returned to the 10 Directions Heaven from the starry sky, he asked Yi Tong to teach the 10 Directions Heaven. At this moment, Whooshing Crocodile naturally knew that the white light gushing out of the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian was the power of faith. Yeah! Beside him, little Taichu's eyes lit up. He stared fixedly at the white light gushing out of the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head. There, outside the immortal Emperor Pagoda, the pure white light and the purple divine light intertwined. Strands of pure white light poured into Lin Tian's body, causing Lin Tian's aura to grow stronger and stronger. Over the years, on Earth where the Milky Way Emperor Star was located, Tu Xian had been persistently teaching. In the 10 Directions Heaven, Yi Tong had also been teaching. As a result, the power of faith gathered in his immortal Emperor Pagoda was growing with every passing moment. Now, the power of faith in the immortal Emperor Pagoda had reached a very high level. At this moment, he summoned this power of faith and used it with the Transcendent Supreme Elixir to forcibly increase his battle strength, causing his battle strength to skyrocket. His aura is constantly rising. Is it because of that pure white light? What kind of power is that? The 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the unaffiliated brown-haired true immortal were all shocked. At this time, although they did not know what kind of power the white light gushing out of the immortal Emperor Pagoda was, they could easily see that Lin Tian's aura was constantly rising because of this pure white light. They could see that Lin Tian had been able to injure the black-armored true immortal just now because of this power. For a moment, the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the unaffiliated brown-haired true immortal all stared at the white light. However, after a while, they did not know what this light was. They had never seen it before. Ignore it. The most important thing is that pagoda. The purple-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty said. At this time, his eyes were fixed on the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head. Kill him, take the pagoda, and then take the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid. The blue-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty said, but you must be careful. After the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid matures and blossoms, it only has 2 hours. If you can't get it and refine it within 2 hours, it will wither and turn into ashes. Now, it has been some time since it matured and blossoms. It will self-destruct in about an hour. We must get it before that happens. The golden-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty nodded. Of course! At this time, the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty were all staring at the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head. The greed in their eyes was not concealed at all, because they could see that the immortal Emperor Pagoda was made of primordial heavenly crystal. A precious weapon made of such a divine material was the prototype of a supreme emperor weapon. Its value was much higher than that of the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. However, they were very ambitious. Not only did they want to take Lin Tian's immortal Emperor Pagoda, they also wanted to take the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. The 3 of them took a step forward and closed in on Lin Tian. At the same time, The brown-haired true immortal also stared at the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head and slowly closed in on him. Obviously, he also wanted to take the pagoda. Suddenly, with a boom, a violent divine energy surged out from thousands of feet away. The black-armored true immortal who had been sent flying by Lin Tian rushed back from the distance. He looked at Lin Tian with cold eyes and said, "Damn you." At this time, his chest, which had been pierced by Lin Tian's sword light, had completely healed. His eyes were cold and filled with anger. He had been defeated by a cultivator below the true immortal realm. This was a great humiliation. He looked at Lin Tian with cold, murderous eyes. However, when he saw the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head, the greed in the depths of his eyes could not be concealed. His desire to take the immortal Emperor Pagoda was so strong that it was almost written on his face. In the Huai Tree Forest, the villagers saw the black-armored true immortal rush back. Their faces changed, and they trembled. He's still alive? His chest was clearly pierced through. How can he still be alive? Wasn't there a bloody hole in his chest before? Why is it gone? The villagers were all shocked. They had clearly seen Lin Tian's sword pierce through the black-armored true immortal. Before this, the black-armored true immortal's chest had been almost completely shattered. There was a bloody hole in the front and back of his chest. Such an injury would have killed him. However, the black-armored true immortal was not dead. He had rushed back from afar, and the bloody hole in his chest had disappeared. Moreover, they saw the black-armored true immortal fly back here. Humans could fly? Don't be surprised. That level of injury could not kill him. Even if he was smashed to pieces, he could regenerate in the blink of an eye. As I said before, don't look at existences like us from an ordinary perspective. That's not suitable. Whooshing Crocodile said. In front of him, rays of light intertwined and flashed. Lin Tian had the immortal Emperor Pagoda above his head. The power of faith in the pagoda flowed into his body continuously, increasing his strength. The divine power he exuded was increasing by leaps and bounds. He looked at the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 itinerant true immortals who were closing in on him. In the next moment, he moved. Boom! An extremely violent aura gushed out. He took a step forward and crossed a great distance. His whole body turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed to the side of the 5 true immortals in the blink of an eye. His tyrannical divine power turned into a strong hurricane and swept the 5 true immortals away from the locust tree forest. In the blink of an eye, they appeared in an ordinary mountainous area tens of thousands of feet away. He used the rich power of faith in combination with the Transcendence Elixir to increase his combat strength. At this time, he had to fight the 5 true immortals and stop them from seizing the 1,000 Illusions Sacred Orchid. The battle would definitely be fierce. Naturally, he could not do it in the locust tree forest. There was a small village and a group of villagers there. They would definitely not be able to withstand the impact of the battle between him and the 5 true immortals. In fact, even if he had forcefully brought the 5 true immortals to this location, the battle that would ensue might still have some impact on the village. However, after 10,000 feet, even if there was an impact, its power would be greatly weakened. The whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu would be able to neutralize it. You brought the 5 of us here at the same time and far away from that area. Do you want to protect the 1,000 Illusion Sacred Orchid for that wild wolf? Are you worried that the village will be destroyed? Are you worried that those lowly mortals will be affected? Although I don't know what relationship you have with that wild wolf or the mortals here, it will all be in vain. The itinerant true immortal in black armor said coldly, You alone can't stop us. You will die soon. You won't be able to protect the 1,000 Illusion Sacred Orchid. That beast will die. Those lowly mortals and the 2 beasts following you will also die. You can't protect anything here. As he spoke, his gaze fell on the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head. The greed in his eyes deepened. And this sect pagoda, after you die, I will take good care of it for you. As he spoke, he looked at the immortal Emperor Pagoda above Lin Tian's head. Then he looked at the 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the brown-haired itinerant true immortal. his eyes filled with caution. He wanted to take Lin Tian's immortal Emperor Pagoda and the Thousand Illusions Sacred Orchid. Naturally, it would not be easy. The three true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the brown-haired true immortal were all his competitors. They would not let him take the immortal Emperor Pagoda and the Thousand Illusions Sacred Orchid. At this time, perhaps they would all work together to deal with Lin Tian. But later on, once they worked together to kill Lin Tian, there would be no one to obstruct them. At that time, there would definitely be an intense battle between the five of them. Lin Tian looked at the itinerant true immortal with cold eyes. The power of faith in the immortal Emperor Pagoda surged into his body. Coupled with the transcendence elixir he had taken earlier, his combat strength was now 10 times stronger than usual. He was like an active volcano that was about to erupt. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. He raised his hand and took out the Xian Luo immortal sword, a true immortal treasure, and slashed at the black-armored true immortal. A sharp sword light slashed out, carrying the power to slay immortals. It went straight for the black-armored true immortal. At the same time, he swung the primal chaos Empyrean fist with his left hand. The fist light filled the sky and enveloped the other four true immortals. Chapter 1500. After killing the black-armored true immortal with his sword and punching the three true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the brown-haired true immortal, Lin Tian's aura had soared to an astonishing level, as if he had stepped into the true immortal realm. The surging offensive shocked the five true immortals. At this moment, Lin Tian's offensive power was obviously more terrifying than when he pierced the black-armored true immortal with his sword. The sword light seemed to be able to cut through everything, and the fist light seemed to be able to shatter everything. Rumble! In the blink of an eye, a large mountain near the battlefield was shattered into pieces. Puff! Blood splattered everywhere, dazzling to the eye. Lin Tian's combat strength had reached a terrifying level after using the Transcendence Elixir to increase his combat strength tenfold, and then he used the power of faith to further increase his combat strength. At this moment, he took out the true immortal weapon Xian Luo immortal sword. The sword light was extremely sharp and faster than before, and it pierced through the black-armored true immortal again in an instant. At the same time, the Chaos Emperor fist he blasted out sent the three true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the brown-haired true immortal, who was an itinerant cultivator, retreating hundreds of feet away. The divine power fluctuations outside their bodies became a little chaotic. Junior! The black-armored true immortal roared. His body had been pierced twice by Lin Tian in a row, which made his eyes almost spit fire. Lin Tian looked at him coldly and said, "You said I can't protect anyone or anything here. You said you want to kill everyone here and take everything away?" The black-armored true immortal quickly healed his wounds, and the divine power outside his body surged to a terrifying level in the blink of an eye. He stared coldly at Lin Tiandao and said, "So what? I'm going to take the Thousand Illusion Orchid. How dare a group of lowly mortals yell at me? I'm going to kill them all. I'm also going to take that pagoda of yours. Can you?" Swoosh! The sound of something breaking through the air rang out, directly interrupting him. Lin Tian's speed was frighteningly fast. Taking a step forward, he appeared before the black-armored true immortal in just the blink of an eye. The black-armored true immortal's expression changed immediately. He was shocked by Lin Tian's speed and appeared in front of him in an instant. "You!" Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. Lin Tian swung the Xian Luo sword. The sharp edge of the sword cut through everything and directly cut off the head of the black-armored true immortal. The head of the black-armored true immortal floated out with blood. There was shock in his eyes, and then a look of shock and anger appeared on his face. Not only had he been pierced by Lin Tian twice, but now Lin Tian had even chopped off his head. Lin Tian's eyes were cold and indifferent. He did not stop after slashing out with his sword, not giving the black-armored true immortal any chance to catch his breath. He immediately propped up the seal of the four symbols and intertwined 6 Dao diagrams of the four symbols, enveloping the black-armored true immortal's head and body at the same time. The majestic divine power of the seal was like a boundless force of the starry sky, and the waves of divine power were terrifying. Poof! This time, the physical body of the black-armored true immortal was crushed into a bloody mist. Only his divine soul was unharmed. Damn it! His divine soul shone brightly. In the blink of an eye, he reformed his physical body and took a step toward Lin Tian. With a boom, the divine power outside his body vibrated. After being injured by Lin Tian several times, he was so angry that he directly used a powerful divine power of the perfected immortal level. Almost at the same time, the three perfected immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the independent brown-haired perfected immortal attacked. They all used powerful and terrifying secret techniques. Boom! The space trembled violently, and several mountains were flattened. At this time, the three perfected immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the independent brown-haired perfected immortal were not here to help the black-armored true immortal. They were here to kill Lin Tian and seize Lin Tian's immortal Emperor Pagoda. At the same time, they also wanted to get the 1,000 Illusion Sacred Orchid. At this time, they had to kill Lin Tian first. Otherwise, they would not be able to get it at all. Therefore, no matter how they looked at it, their first priority was the same. They all wanted to kill Lin Tian. Boom! The killing lights of the 5 sects were vast and mighty. They pressed down on Lin Tian from all directions and immediately enveloped him. Lin Tian's eyes were cold and indifferent. He did not dodge and used the arcane skill of the great immortal king of the Bai clan. He used his tenfold combat strength and the vast power of faith to form the immortal king's divine shadow that was hundreds of feet tall. He forcefully resisted all the attacks of the 5 people. Clang! In his hand, the Xian Luo immortal sword screeched again. He used the heavenly sword scripture and released a large amount of killing lights toward the 5 people. After that, he used the divining divine skill. All kinds of powerful divining divine elephants appeared behind him. There were dozens of them. Every one of them was intertwined with a very shocking, destructive power. They all attacked the 5 people at the same time. The 5 of them were shocked. The 5 of them had unleashed their true immortal level abilities at the same time, but they were blocked so easily by Lin Tian. Moreover, in the next instant, Lin Tian directly launched another attack, and the power of his attack was even stronger. Facing Lin Tian's heavenly sword radiance and dozens of divining divine elephants, the 5 people felt a trace of threat. However, they were all true immortal level powerhouses. Although they felt that Lin Tian's sword radiance and dozens of divining divine elephants were a threat to them, their combat strength was overwhelming. They did not care at all. The 5 people each attacked. They all slapped Lin Tian's sword radiance and divining divine elephants into pieces. What is that white light that gushed out from the primordial pagoda? How did it increase your strength by so much? The purple-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty looked at Lin Tian and asked in a low voice. At first, they did not take Lin Tian's aura seriously. But now, as the white light from the immortal Emperor Pagoda entered Lin Tian's body, Lin Tian's aura suddenly increased to a very shocking level. Whether in terms of attack or defense, he seemed to be able to contend with the 5 of them. Lin Tian looked at the purple-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty and the other 4 true immortals. He raised the Xian Luo immortal sword in his hand and pointed it at them. Clanging sword chi intertwined. He did not waste time talking nonsense with them. He attacked directly. These 5 were bent on killing him, taking the immortal Emperor Pagoda and then the 1,000 apparitions immortal orchid. They even wanted to kill everyone here. Wu Yu knew that it was impossible to change their minds. As such, what else could he say to them? What he should do now was to attack and defeat them with his powerful combat strength. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. He swung the heavenly sword scripture with the Xian Luo immortal sword, which was a true immortal weapon. Unparalleled sword radiance swept out in all directions. Then, in the next moment, the 5 Thunders heaven-shaking incantation was activated. Streaks of silver lightning appeared. Together with the heavenly sword radiance that filled the sky, they struck the 5 people. Each streak of lightning was shockingly powerful and seemed to be able to destroy everything. Chapter 1501. The golden sword radiance and the silver lightning intertwined. Lin Tian attacked, enveloping the 5 true immortal realm experts in it, attacking them indiscriminately. The 5 true immortals naturally felt the power of this attack, especially that silver lightning, which made them feel a sense of threat. However, when Lin Tian attacked the 5 of them at the same time by himself, their gazes turned very cold. They felt that Lin Tian was truly too arrogant. Junior, the purple-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty, said coldly. He took a step forward, and the shadow of a beast appeared behind him. It was formed by intertwining divine power, and its aura was terrifying. At the same time, the other 4 true immortals did not show any mercy. Each of them used their powerful mystiques to attack. The dense killing lights were all aimed at Lin Tian. Whether it was to obtain the 1,000 Illusion Sacred Orchid or Lin Tian's Immortal Emperor Pagoda, they wanted to kill Lin Tian. And they had to be fast. Boom! The space shook, and all kinds of killing lights intertwined. The void cracked inch by inch, and the ground collapsed. Lin Tianyi fought against the 5 true immortals. The High Heaven Sword Scripture and the Xian Luo Immortal Sword were used to the limit of his cultivation. The 5 Heavenly Thunders technique caused the sky to be filled with lightning and surrounded every inch of the void. It attacked the 5 true immortals like the light of a heavenly tribulation. Moreover, at the same time, he once again supported the 4-symbol seal divine technique, supported the divination divine technique, and even operated the dragon burial scripture. Strand after strand of dragon patterns interweaved, transforming into seemingly real, divine dragons that illuminated the heavens. The reason why he was able to use so many divine abilities and secret techniques was because he was facing 5 experts alone. Even though the Transcendence Divine Pill and the Power of Faith had forcibly increased his battle prowess by many times, and even though he appeared to be very strong on the surface, in reality, he was under a lot of pressure. After all, those were 5 genuine, true, immortal experts. Roar! The dragon's roar resounded in all directions. The sky was filled with dragon runes that formed a true dragon. The dragon's roar shook the sky, and the divine dragon swung its tail. The dragon's aura was extremely shocking. Immediately, rumbling sounds rang out, all types of divine light crisscrossing. Several of the great mountains in this place collapsed. In the faraway Huai tree forest, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu watched Lin Tian's battle with flickering eyes. That kind of power of faith is indeed extraordinary. No wonder that brat wanted little Yi Tong to preach to the world. He actually managed to increase his strength by so much after taking the Transcendence Divine Pill, which increased his battle prowess tenfold. He actually managed to block 5 true immortals all by himself. This is simply... Wuxing Crocodile was shocked. Little Taichu was also looking into the distance, looking very serious. At the same time, he also seemed a little surprised. At this place, a group of villagers stood by the heavily injured Snow Wolf and looked at Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. That man, where did he go? Can you see anything? Someone asked. These villagers were just ordinary people with limited eyesight. Naturally, they could not see the scene of Lin Tian's battle with the 5 true immortal realm experts from tens of thousands of feet away. Wuxing Crocodile nodded slightly. Then, he used his demonic power to display the scene of the battle in the distance to the villagers in the form of a divine imprint. Seeing this scene, the villagers were all shocked. They had never seen Wuxing Crocodile use such a method before. They did not expect him to be able to inexplicably show such a scene. However, in the blink of an eye, these people's surprise did not last long. After all, they had seen too many shocking things on this day. At this time, they stood by Snow Wolf and stared at the scene of Lin Tian's battle with the 5 true immortals shown by Wuxing Crocodile. Then, their eyes flickered. This was because the battle between Lin Tian and the 5 true immortals was simply destructive. They saw Lin Tian and the 5 true immortals flying in the sky and burrowing into the ground. As they fought, all kinds of divine light flashed and shattered mountains. Moreover, cracks appeared in the air. This scene was really shocking to them. After all, for these ordinary people, the scene of divine light filling the sky and shattering the earth was too terrifying. However, in the next moment, the horror on the villagers' faces disappeared and was replaced by anger. "Little brother, defeat them!" Someone shouted loudly as he looked at the divine imprint shown by whooshing crocodile. They were guarding the blood-stained snow wolf. They knew that this snow wolf, who had a close relationship with their village, was injured by the 5 true immortals. They knew that the 5 true immortals wanted to seize the divine orchid that the snow wolf guarded for the witch. They knew that the witch's resting place was destroyed by the 5 true immortals. Everyone was filled with anger towards the 5 true immortals. Because of this sincere anger, even though these people could tell that the 5 true immortals were not ordinary people and were all very terrifying people, they did not feel much fear at this time. The anger in their hearts was much stronger than the fear in their hearts. The snow wolf's entire body was covered in blood. At this time, its life force was still constantly fading away. Its demonic eyes had dimmed a lot. Its gaze moved away from the witch's tombstone and looked at the image shown by whooshing crocodile here. Its eyes could not help but flicker. A human who it did not know would actually go to such lengths for it. A human who had not even reached the true immortal realm was resisting 5 true immortals just to prevent them from seizing the 1,000 illusion divine orchid that it had brought here for the witch. Whooshing crocodile looked at the snow wolf. Looking at the other party's eyes, it naturally knew what the other party was thinking at this time. It said, "When we were here, we heard the remnants of the zither music left behind by the witch. We all benefited a lot from it. We also learned some things about the witch and you. That witch is worthy of respect, and what you have done for her is even more touching." As it spoke, it looked at Lin Tian, who was fighting 10,000 feet away. It said, "For that witch, and even more so for what you have done for her, that guy feels that he has a reason to fight. He is such a man who is loyal to his feelings." It said. Hearing this, the snow wolf looked at the image of Lin Tian and the image shown by whooshing crocodile's divine sense. Its dim eyes flickered even more. It was only because it had relied on itself to hear the sound of the witch who had saved it playing the zither in this place. It was only because it had been touched by what it had done for the witch that it fought against 5 true immortals at the same time with its cultivation level below the true immortal realm and prevented them from seizing the 1,000 illusion divine orchid. In today's cruel cultivation world, there were still people like this. Boom! 10,000 feet away, divine light trembled. All kinds of killing lights intertwined. The sky and the void were shaken to the point that they collapsed inch by inch. The 5 true immortals' auras were chaotic, and their bodies were stained with blood. Under Lin Tian's powerful attacks, they had all suffered some injuries. At the same time, even though Lin Tian's combat strength had been forcibly increased by many times with the help of the divine elixir and the power of faith, it was naturally impossible for him to be unscathed when fighting against 5 true immortals at the same time. At this moment, there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He had suffered some injuries. However, his expression did not change. The Xian Luo celestial sword intertwined with dazzling sword lights, and the sword momentum was extremely sharp. Clang! The sword clanged. He waved the Xian Luo celestial sword and slashed at the 5 true immortals. A large area of the void was shattered at the same time. The 5 true immortals' divine sense rolled outside their bodies as they kept attacking Lin Tian. However, they were gradually more and more surprised. They found that Lin Tian's combat strength increased by the white light was really amazing. Even if they worked together, they still could not kill him in a short time. Although the combat strength increased by external objects is very strong, there is still a time limit. Let's ignore him for now and seize the 1,000 illusion divine orchid. If we delay any longer, the 1,000 illusion divine orchid will wither. The purple-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty, said to the blue-robed and golden-robed true immortals of his lineage. The blue-robed and golden-robed true immortals heard this and nodded. "You guys hold him back. I'll go get the 1,000 illusion divine orchid," the blue-robed true immortal said. With that, he used a special movement technique to retreat from the battlefield. He stopped attacking Lin Tian and rushed toward the Huai Tree Forest. When the black-armored rogue true immortal and the brown-haired rogue true immortal saw this, their eyes narrowed. Then, they gave up on Lin Tian and rushed toward the Huai Tree Forest. Naturally, they could not just stand by and watch the blue-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty take the 1,000 illusion divine orchid. This was because there was no one there who could stop the blue-robed true immortal. As long as the blue-robed true immortal rushed there, the 1,000 illusion divine orchid would definitely fall into his hands. Of course, they were not willing to let this happen. As for the immortal Emperor Pagoda on Lin Tian, they were more interested in it. However, at this time, the immortal Emperor Pagoda would not disappear with the passage of time. Moreover, the purple-robed and golden-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty would not be able to suppress Lin Tian and take the immortal Emperor Pagoda in a short time. Moreover, the two of them could hold Lin Tian back during this process. They did not have to worry about Lin Tian escaping and not being able to get the immortal Emperor Pagoda. Therefore, after considering the situation from all sides, the most suitable choice at this time was to fight with the blue-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty for the 1,000 illusion divine orchid. Whoosh! 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 The sound of the air being torn apart reverberated. The three of them were very fast, like 3 human-shaped lightning bolts, rushing toward the Huai Tree Forest. Lin Tian looked at the 3 of them coldly. Silver lightning crackled around his body as he used the 5 heaven-shaking thunderbolts incantation and the duality steps. In an instant, he crossed an endless distance and blocked all 3 of them. Then, he directly slashed at them with his sword. Clang! He infused the power of the 5 heaven-shaking thunderbolts incantation into this sword. It was like a killing sword condensed from the heavenly tribulation lightning punishment, causing the 3 true immortals to turn pale at the same time. They quickly retreated to avoid this fierce killing sword. No one can touch the 1,000 illusion divine orchid. He held the Xian Luo immortal sword and pointed it at everyone. The cold sword radiance was endlessly swallowing. The true immortals' eyes were cold. They looked at Lin Tian with eyes full of coldness and killing intent. The blue-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty glanced at the 1,000 illusion divine orchid in the distance, then looked at Lin Tian and said coldly, "There's not much time left. Since he wants to stop us, then kill him as soon as possible. Don't let the 1,000 illusion divine orchid be destroyed." As soon as he finished speaking, there was a boom. Divine light surged around his body, and a sea of fire appeared behind him. Dense and stable waves of the immortal path spread out mightily, as if they could burn everything in the world. The aura was terrifying. Chapter 1502. The waves of the immortal Tao surged. Behind the blue-robed true immortal of the Wanwei dynasty, a sea of fire appeared. It was scorching hot, and the temperature was terrifyingly high. Every wisp of flame seemed to be able to incinerate everything, causing the void to sizzle. The immortal Tao of oblivion. Lin Tian's eyes glinted as he looked at the roiling flames behind the true immortal. There were many Taos in the world, and they were divided into the Great Tao, Immortal Tao, Divine Tao, and Eternal Divine Tao. The flames behind the blue-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty intertwined with strong waves of immortal Tao. The immortal Tao was one of the strongest techniques of true immortal cultivators. Facing this kind of flame, he felt his skin become a little hot. "All right, let's kill him quickly." The other 2 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty spoke, each supporting the immortal Tao. One of them conjured a sky full of divine trees, while the other conjured dense water droplets around him. Each divine tree and each water droplet exuded a terrifying aura. The immortal Tao of wood and the immortal Tao of muddy water. Lin Tian's eyes glinted. Among the 3,000 great Taos, a large portion of the great Taos were, in fact, just a small portion of the Tao power of the immortal Tao and the divine Tao. For example, the great Tao of Yin Yang, the great Tao of Taiyin, the great Tao of Yang, and the great Tao of metal, wood, water, fire, earth. They were, respectively, a very small portion of the Tao power of the Yin Yang divine Tao, the great Tao of Yang, the great Tao of metal, wood, water, fire, earth. He learned about this from ancient texts when he'd first ascended to the stars. At this time, the three true immortals of Wanwei dynasty summoned the immortal Tao of fire, wood, and water that corresponded to the great Tao of fire, wood, and water respectively. Their Tao power was even sharper than the great Tao of fire, wood, and water respectively. Boom! Boom! In the other two places, the brown-haired true immortal and the black-armored true immortal also conjured immortal Taos, the immortal Tao of dreams and the immortal Tao of thorns. Among them, the illusory dream immortal Tao could weaken the enemy's spirit, causing them to fall into an illusory dream world and then kill them. The bramble immortal Tao could interweave vines that filled the sky, binding even divine power and sealing all things. The three true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the other two wanted to kill Lin Tian as quickly as possible, seize the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid, and the immortal Emperor Pagoda. They conjured immortal Tao laws and pressed down on Lin Tian at the same time. Immortal Tao, the black-armored true, immortal Tao said true. The black-armored true, immortal said coldly. The eyes of the other four were cold and indifferent. Their immortal Tao laws churned, almost shattering the sky. As Lin Tian faced the 5 immortal Tao laws, his essence, energy, and spirit trembled. He felt so tired that he wanted to fall into a deep sleep. He knew that this was the power of the brown-haired true immortal's illusory dream immortal Tao. Even before it truly pressed down, his essence, energy, and spirit were already greatly affected. At the same time, he felt pain all over his body because of the other 4 immortal Taos. His bones were creaking and his organs were throbbing violently. It was extremely uncomfortable, as if his bones would shatter and his organs would be destroyed in the next moment. He truly felt the threat of death looming over him. It was as if he would disappear under the immortal Tao of the 5 immortal Taos. His body was trembling, but his expression did not change at all. There was not a trace of fear on his face. In the next moment, faint light intertwined around his body. The immortal Tao of the nameless great Tao propped itself up, and Tao radiance circled around his body. "I'm counting on you," he muttered to himself. He had never been sure what Tao he had comprehended, but he was absolutely certain that the Tao he had comprehended was very powerful. At this moment, the 5 true immortals had activated their immortal Tao laws. If he wanted to fight them, the best way was naturally to use Tao as a weapon. Strands of Tao radiance surged out of his body and encircled him. The tiredness caused by the brown-haired true immortal's illusory dream immortal Tao instantly vanished. At the same time, the pain caused by the other 4 Taos was greatly reduced. Then, Tao radiance surged and turned into a Tao wave that met the immortal Tao laws of the true immortals. The 5 true immortals' expressions changed slightly when they saw Lin Tian's Tao. They frowned because they could not tell what Tao Lin Tian had activated. At the same time, they realized that the immortal Taos they had activated had a much weaker effect on Lin Tian. They could not exert absolute pressure on Lin Tian in terms of Tao momentum. However, they did not care about this because their immortal Taos had not truly reached Lin Tian yet. "Kill," the black-armored true immortal said coldly. His thorny immortal Taos truly pressed toward Lin Tian and wrapped around Lin Tian. At the same time, the other 4 cultivators' immortal Taos also pressed down on Lin Tian like 4 waves of destruction. Lin Tian's body trembled violently. He could feel the immense pressure, but he was not afraid at all. His eyes were resolute. He firmly believed that his nameless Tao law was definitely not inferior to the immortal Tao. He firmly believed that his nameless Tao Law would not lose to the immortal Taos of the five true immortals after he had used the Ascension Divine Pill and endless power of faith to increase his combat strength by dozens of times. With a thought, the Tao wave formed by the nameless Tao Law surged even more violently toward the immortal Taos of the five true immortals. In the blink of an eye, the Tao wave formed by his nameless Tao Law collided with the immortal Taos of the five true immortals. Boom! There was a shocking explosion as the nameless Tao Law collided with the immortal Taos of the five true immortals. The sky and earth shook together. Crack! 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 There was a series of cracking sounds as the surrounding void cracked inch by inch. 6 different Tao powers collided with each other. The 5 immortal Taos suppressed Lin Tian's nameless Tao Law with vast destructive power. The immortal Taos intertwined with each other and were extremely frightening. Compared to Lin Tian's nameless Tao Law, the 5 immortal Taos of the Manwei dynasty and the 2 itinerant true immortals were much more powerful. On the surface, they seemed to be able to crush Lin Tian's nameless Tao Law. However, in reality, the 5 immortal Taos were completely blocked by Lin Tian's nameless Tao Law. In fact, the 5 immortal Taos seemed to have a consciousness of their own when they collided. Well, what's going on? The 5 true immortals were truly shocked at this moment. Their immortal Tao Law, one of their strongest techniques as true immortals, was completely blocked at this moment. It was blocked by the nameless Tao of a young cultivator who had yet to reach the true immortal realm. Impossible, even if he relied on that strange white light to forcibly increase his battle prowess. His actual cultivation has yet to reach the true immortal level. If we were to compare Tao, he would definitely be crushed by us. But now the 5 true immortals were all shocked. Their immortal Taos were completely blocked. In fact, after facing Lin Tian's Tao, the Tao light of their immortal Taos gradually began to tremble as if they had a consciousness, as if they were afraid. Tao light surged around Lin Tian's body. The nameless Tao Law intertwined with divine splendor and completely blocked the immortal Taos of the 5 true immortals. Wisps of light intertwined in his eyes. His belief was not wrong. Although he did not know what Tao's Tao was, it was really very powerful. He looked ahead. His nameless Tao Law collided with the immortal Taos of the 5 true immortals, and the surrounding space collapsed inch by inch. "Break for me," he said in a low voice. As soon as he finished speaking, his nameless Tao Law emitted a Tao light under the multiplication of his battle strength. It rumbled and then turned into a shocking storm, shattering all the immortal Tao laws of the 5 true immortals. How can this be? The 5 true immortals' expressions changed again. Their bodies could not help but tremble. Their immortal Tao laws were shattered. A person who had yet to reach the true immortal realm had shattered their immortal Taos with a pure Tao at this moment. Clang! Boom! The sound of a sword was ear-piercing, and thunder rumbled. The golden sword radiance and silver lightning struck the 5 true immortals. After Lin Tian used his nameless Tao Law to shatter the immortal Taos of the 5 true immortals, he immediately launched a fierce attack. The High Heaven Sword Scripture and 5 Heaven-Shaking Thunders technique were activated to the maximum at the same time. Moreover, the nameless Tao Law was also powerful, causing the entire space to distort. Damn it! The 5 true immortals' eyes were extremely cold. Although they were surprised by the strangeness and power of Lin Tian's Tao that could shatter their immortal Taos, they did not lose their composure at this moment. They pulled open their immortal Taos and faced Lin Tian's attack. In an instant, the 6 of them fought fiercely. Divine powers and secret skills clashed, and Tao radiance clashed. The scene was terrifying. A violent storm swept out in all directions. Mountains exploded one after another. Divine power surged outside Lin Tian's body. He wielded the Xian Luo immortal sword in his right hand and slashed again and again. The silver lightning formed by the 5 Heaven-Shaking Thunders technique also carried an extremely domineering and strong power as it continuously attacked the 5 true immortals. His nameless Tao Law was not weaker than the immortal Taos of the 5 true immortals. However, his cultivation level had not reached the true immortal realm after all. He had only used the Ascension Divine Elixir and the power of faith to forcefully increase his combat strength. At this moment, even if his Tao was not weaker than the immortal Taos of the 5 true immortals, the pressure on him was still huge and was increasing as time went by. However, his expression did not change. There was no trace of fear or wariness. His eyes were deep, and there were wisps of strange light in them. He slashed with the Xian Luo immortal sword in his right hand while his left hand moved slightly. The Tao diagram of the 4 symbols slowly formed. Mighty strands of dazzling, sealing divine power were thrown directly at the 5 true immortals. The 5 true immortals naturally did not care about Lin Tian's Tao diagram of the 4 symbols. They attacked at the same time and shattered the diagram. However, the moment the Tao diagram was shattered, all 5 of them changed their expressions. After the Tao diagram was shattered, a treasured bell with Tao patterns and divine seals intertwined all over it was revealed. It was intertwined with the aura of a true immortal and immortal Tao laws. It was a true immortal artifact. At this time, the true immortal aura and immortal Tao law outside this true immortal weapon treasured bell were extremely chaotic and violent. It had reached the state of self-destruction. The 5 true immortals' expressions changed drastically. They all backed away from the treasured bell. Unfortunately, it was still a little too late. Explode! A cold word came out of Lin Tian's mouth. Boom! An earth-shattering roar instantly exploded in this space. The true immortal artifact level bell exploded, and a terrifying aura of destruction spread out, turning into a ripple of destruction. In the blink of an eye, it covered the 5 true immortals at the same time. Chapter 1503. The bell was called the Everlasting Bell. It was a genuine immortal weapon of the everlasting immortal sect that Lin Tian had obtained from the everlasting ancient star. At this time, Lin Tian was very clear about one thing. He might be able to fight against 5 genuine immortals in a short time after forcibly increasing his battle strength. But as time went by, the situation would become more and more unfavorable for him. Moreover, even if his battle strength had increased by dozens of times, it was really not possible for him to defeat 5 genuine immortals. After all, a real genuine immortal was really very powerful. Therefore, he decisively self-destructed a genuine immortal weapon at this time, and secretly suppressed the everlasting bell with the 4 symbol sealing technique towards the 5 genuine immortals so that they would not be able to detect it. Then, when the 5 broke the Tao diagram of the 4 symbols, the everlasting bell, which had been triggered by him, was exposed. It had reached the critical point of self-destruction and directly exploded. At that point in time, even a powerful genuine immortal would not have time to dodge or defend. Boom! The 5 genuine immortals exploded at the same time. The whole space here roared, and the void and the earth were shattered beyond recognition. A terrible hurricane swept out, and the wind was terrifying. Damn it! There was a roar, and in the void, blood fog intertwined and surged. The 5 genuine immortals reformed their bodies in the blink of an eye. Junior! The 5 of them stared at Lin Tian, their eyes cold and full of anger. They never thought that Lin Tian would have other genuine immortal weapons besides the Xian Luo Sword of Immortals. Moreover, he had self-destructed a genuine immortal weapon and hid it in the Tao diagram of the 4 symbols sealing technique. Using the sealing power to conceal it from their perception, he directly detonated it in front of them. It was a true immortal weapon. The destructive power of detonating a true immortal weapon was no joke. Even though they were true immortal experts, it was still very difficult for them to completely withstand the self-destruction of a true immortal weapon. At this moment, each of them had suffered unimaginable injuries. Their essence, qi, and spirit were greatly weakened, and their faces were pale. At this moment, the killing intent in their eyes intensified as they stared at Lin Tian. They wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Tian apart. Bearing the self-destruction of the genuine immortal weapon pagoda, their spirits were almost shattered. Outside Lin Tian's body, silver lightning crisscrossed, and electric arcs sizzled, giving off a domineering and majestic feeling. He looked at the five immortals with a cold expression on his face. Xian Luo, immortal sword of immortals, pointed his sword of immortals. In an instant, dense sword, immortal sword of immortals appeared. A sword, immortal weapon of immortals. Now that they had destroyed a true immortal artifact, all five of them were in trouble. Whether it was the circulation of their divine power, the circulation of their immortal Tao, the strength of their souls, or their physical strength, all of them had been weakened by more than half. Naturally, he would not give up on this excellent opportunity to attack. Originally, he had destroyed a sect's true immortal artifact in order to create a situation that was advantageous to him. Clang! Sword of immortal level. Xian Luo, immortal sword of immortal level, slashed out. Every slash was swift and fierce, cutting through space, earth, and mountains. The five immortals were momentarily exhausted from defending themselves. This was because they had been severely injured by the self-destruction of the eternal bell of immortal level. Now, their spirits were all very unstable. Swoosh! The sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Lin Tian was extremely fast, leaving behind afterimages with each step. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of the immortal in black armor. "You said you want to kill everyone here?" His voice was cold. The immortal in black armor was shocked. He had just been severely injured by the self-destruction of his genuine immortal weapon. His strength was greatly reduced in all aspects. Now that Lin Tian was in front of him again, he could not help but feel his scalp go numb when he met Lin Tian's cold eyes. He quickly retreated. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing. Lin Tian swung his sword. The speed of the sword was undoubtedly much faster than the speed at which the immortal in black armor was retreating. In the blink of an eye, the sword landed on the immortal in black armor and cut him into pieces. The immortal in black armor roared in anger. His spirit was not destroyed. His soul power surged and wrapped around his broken body, quickly reforming it. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. With a shift of his mind, the five thunders of heaven shaking incantation was activated. In an instant, dense silver lightning was summoned. Each lightning bolt was like the light of heavenly tribulation. They enveloped the immortal in black armor's broken body, which was in the process of reforming. For a moment, the sound of puff, puff, puff rang out continuously. The silver lightning struck at an extremely fast speed, causing the immortal in black armor's broken body to become even more damaged in the blink of an eye. Damn it! The immortal in black armor roared in anger. After suffering the impact of the self-destruction of the true immortal artifact, he had also suffered several heavy blows from Lin Tian. His injuries had worsened at this moment, and his soul was trembling violently. He did his best, and the laws of the immortal Tao surged. He summoned the immortal Tao of thorns, which turned into chains of light that wrapped around him to protect his soul. It also increased his soul power by several times in a short period of time, allowing him to reform his body at an extremely fast speed. However, Lin Tian did not give him a chance at all. He took a step forward and pressed down with the nameless Tao Law. Cracking sounds could be heard, and the immortal Tao of thorns that the immortal in black armor had summoned only struggled for a moment before it was crushed into pieces by the nameless Tao Law. The immortal in black armor's broken body and soul were immediately exposed, and he lost all his defenses in a short period of time. Moreover, Lin Tian's true body also approached at this moment. The reincarnation diagram of the king's territory propped up behind him and immediately emitted a sacred and vast aura that suppressed the entire sky. The immortal in black armor's soul trembled, and he naturally sensed how terrifying the reincarnation diagram was. It carried a wave that could annihilate all things, and he immediately felt a huge threat. "Stop! Stop! Everything is negotiable." That person cried out as fear appeared in his eyes. At that moment, he could clearly sense that in his current state, if he were to be struck by that divine diagram, he would definitely be reduced to ashes. There would be no other outcome. Lin Tian did not say anything else and would not show any mercy at all. The reincarnation diagram pressed down mightily. Ah! The immortal in black armor screamed miserably as he was shrouded by the reincarnation diagram. With Lin Tian's transcendence divine pill and the power of faith, he was directly crushed into pieces. This time, he was truly crushed. His physical body disappeared, and his soul was destroyed as well. He completely disappeared from heaven and earth. How could this be? In this space, the three true immortals of the Manwei dynasty and the brown-haired true immortal trembled in unison. Lin Tian actually killed the immortal in black armor. His cultivation had not reached the true immortal realm, but now he had killed a real true immortal. At the same time, in the faraway Huai forest, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu were also shocked when they saw this scene. He really killed an immortal. Wuxing Crocodile's eyes flickered. The fact that Lin Tian had been able to stop the 5 true immortals after amplifying his combat power by tens of times was already shocking enough. At that very moment, however, it was even more shocked. Despite having to face 5 true immortals alone, Lin Tian had managed to kill off one of them. Although he knew that to a large extent, it was because Lin Tian had destroyed a genuine immortal artifact, which had caused great damage to the 5 genuine immortals. That was why he was able to kill the black-armored genuine immortal. However, he could not suppress his surprise. Clang! The sound of the sword was ear-piercing and clanging. Tens of thousands of feet away, Lin Tian moved again. He swung the Xian Luo immortal sword in his hand, interweaving sword lights that filled the sky, and slashed toward the other 4 true immortals. He had self-destructed a genuine immortal artifact, causing the 5 genuine immortals to suffer unimaginable injuries. At this time, he naturally had to grasp the situation tightly and firmly hold the advantage of the battle on his side. He directly launched a fierce attack on the 4 genuine immortals, not giving them the slightest chance to catch their breaths, not giving them the slightest chance to heal their injuries. Damn it, don't hold back, attack him together, the brown-haired true immortal growled. Without holding back, he directly raised the illusory dream immortal Dao and pressed it toward Lin Tian. The 3 true immortals of the Manwei dynasty naturally understood the current situation. At this moment, they did not dare to be the slightest bit careless. They all cooperated with the brown-haired true immortal, each of them using the immortal Dao precepts and various great divine abilities and secret arts to jointly attack Lin Tian. For a moment, there was a rumble and the sky was filled with divine light. Unparalleled killing light seemed to want to shatter everything around them. Lin Tian's black hair danced in front of his forehead. His eyes were indifferent as he rushed forward, not at all dodging the killing light of the immortal Dao precepts. At this time, the 4 true immortal artifacts were severely injured because of the self-destruction of the Bell of Eternity. The immortal Dao precepts they used were much weaker than before, but he was still at his peak. The advantage of the battle was completely on his side. Buzz! The nameless Dao precepts surged and shone brightly. At this moment, he released it. Then, the reincarnation diagram was raised again, and in the blink of an eye, it merged with the nameless Dao precepts and turned into the strongest reincarnation diagram of the great Dao, which pressed toward the 4 true immortals at the same time. For crisp cracking sounds were heard. The reincarnation diagram of the great Dao was incomparably powerful. In the blink of an eye, it shattered the immortal Dao precepts and secret arts that the 4 true immortals had used. It arrived in front of the 4 in an instant. Unparalleled power surged and shook violently, its power intimidating. For mists of blood exploded. The 4 true immortals were crushed at the same time. Only their spiritual bodies were barely preserved. Even though their spiritual bodies were preserved, their spiritual bodies were filled with dense cracks. Like the most fragile porcelain, it was as if they would break with a casual touch. This caused the spiritual bodies of the 4 true immortals to tremble violently. Each of them was shocked. They quickly shook their spiritual bodies and reformed their bodies. Boom! Rolling thunder surged, and the sky turned dark in an instant. Lin Tian stepped forward and activated the 5 heaven-shaking thunder incantation. He directly activated the 5 heavenly thunder dominion grand theurgy, interweaving a sea of thunder around him and enveloping the 4 true immortals in this sea of thunder. Then, without any movement, he disappeared from where he was in an instant. The next moment, he appeared in front of the purple-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty. He raised his right hand, and the reincarnation diagram appeared again. He held it in his hand and crushed it like a millstone. The true immortal of the Manwei dynasty's spiritual body trembled violently. His eyes were filled with fear. "Stop, stop! I'm the true ancestor of the Manwei dynasty. You can't kill me." Chapter 1504. Just like the black-armored true immortal, the purple-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty could feel the terrifying power of Lin Tian's reincarnation portrait. If he was hit, he would definitely die in his current state. "Stop! We can negotiate," the man shouted. Lin Tian's expression did not change. Because of Yin Zhongwang, the Wanwei dynasty had put out a bounty on his head. Moreover, after seeing his immortal Emperor Pagoda, they wanted to kill him and seize the immortal Emperor Pagoda. Talking about peace with him now was simply a joke. He was sure that if he let this man go, this tribe would organize an even stronger force to deal with him. Buzz! The reincarnation portrait in his hand shone with immortal divine light. It came down mightily and instantly fell on the man's head. "No!" The man's divine soul screamed. Then, in the next moment, it shattered into pieces and disappeared completely under the reincarnation portrait. The second true immortal. In the Huai Tree Forest, Whooshing Crocodile looked in this direction and could not help but be shocked. In the blink of an eye, 2 true immortal experts were killed by Lin Tian. Beside him, little Taichu's eyes could not help but flicker a little. The ordinary villagers had long been stunned by the battle between Lin Tian and the 5 true immortals shown by Whooshing Crocodile. In their eyes, Lin Tianyi and the others were like gods. Boom! Tens of thousands of feet away, thunder roared. Silver lightning interweaved in the large space, and the power of the thunder shook people's souls. Yu, the blue-robed and golden-robed true immortals of the Manwei dynasty, had reformed their bodies. They could not help but tremble. After killing the black-armored true immortal, Lin Tian killed the purple-robed true immortal in the blink of an eye. At the same time, the brown-haired true immortal was also trembling. He had been thinking about killing Lin Tian to seize the immortal Emperor Pagoda and then the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. But now, after seeing Lin Tian kill the black-armored true immortal and the purple-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty, he could not help but feel a chill run down his spine. His internal organs were trembling, and his eyes were full of horror. Boom! Thunder roared. In this place, the silver lightning interweaved by the 5 heavenly thunder technique became even more terrifying. Lin Tian was in this sea of thunder, like the thunder god. At this moment, his eyes fell on the golden-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty. Without saying anything, he disappeared on the spot and appeared in front of the golden-robed true immortal in the next moment. The golden-robed true immortal of the Manwei dynasty trembled. He did not see Lin Tian move at all, but Lin Tian appeared in front of him directly. It was as if he had really teleported, which shocked him. "How did you?" Clang! The sound of the sword rang out. Lin Tian swung the Xian Luo immortal sword in his hand. It looked like an ordinary sword move, but it was actually one of the top divine skills in the Heavenly Sword Manual. The sharp sword power was concentrated on the sword, and it steadily struck the golden-robed true immortal. With a puff, the golden-robed true immortal, who had been seriously injured, was directly split into pieces. Lin Tian raised his left hand slightly. The reincarnation map appeared again, and directly pressed down on the golden-robed true immortal's body and spirit. "Stop!" "Ah!" The golden-robed true immortal screamed. Under the reincarnation map, the golden-robed, true, immortal spirit was directly crushed, and he died completely. In an instant, only the blue-robed, true immortal of the Manwë dynasty and the brown-haired true immortal were left in this sea of thunder. Both of them could not help but tremble. Lin Tian had used the special white light to forcibly increase his battle strength, and then concealed it by self-destructing a true, immortal weapon to severely injure them. After that, he launched a series of attacks. Every move seemed to have been calculated. This kind of fighting talent made true, immortal experts like them shocked. At this time, while they were shocked, they were also terrified. Lin Tian had killed 3 true immortals in a row, and they were next. It was also at this moment that Lin Tian silently appeared in front of the brown-haired true immortal, while the two of them were trembling in fear. This Sea of Lightning was a domain-type divine ability, 5 lightning divine territory. With this Sea of Lightning as an area, he could teleport to any area with just a thought. In fact, it was no different from teleportation in real life. The brown-haired true immortal trembled and quickly retreated. He quickly said, "Little friend, have mercy. This old man swears that he will never take the 1,000 illusion orchid again, and will never have any ideas about your primordial divine pagoda again. Are you thinking that I've used a special method to forcibly increase my strength, and that you'll come to find me and kill me to take the primordial pagoda after this special method has worn off?" Lin Tiandao, the brown-haired true immortal, seemed to have been seen through. A dark light flashed in his eyes, and his immortal body trembled. "Little friend, you misunderstand. This old man is definitely not thinking of that." Lin Tianyi did not say a word. Ever since he stepped onto the path of cultivation, he had experienced battle after battle. How could he not know how to read a person's expression? This person was clearly planning to kill him and seize the immortal Emperor Pagoda after the battle prowess that he had gained through special means wore off. He could easily see through this. In fact, if there was enough time, and if the 1,000 illusion orchid had not withered away, he would have taken the 1,000 illusion orchid as well. He looked at this person, then silently appeared in front of him again. The immortal sword in his hand slashed down mercilessly. Clang! The Xian Luo immortal sword let out a deafening hum. Its sharp sword aura enveloped the brown-haired true immortal, crushing a large area of space. With a poof, the brown-haired true immortal was unable to dodge. He was smashed to pieces by the sword, leaving only a strand of his spirit to escape. However, in the next moment, there was a deafening clap of thunder. A bolt of silver lightning, as thick as a water bucket, fell from the sky, like a true immortal's heavenly tribulation. It drowned the true immortal spirit. "Arg!" The true immortal screamed as his spirit was reduced to ashes. Lin Tian did not care. He turned to look at the last person in the Sea of Thunder, the blue-robed true immortal of the Manwë dynasty. The blue-robed true immortal trembled when he met Lin Tian's gaze. "You, don't do anything stupid. You've already killed 2 of my dynasty's true immortals and true ancestors. You've committed a heinous crime. If you kill me again, my dynasty will not let you go." The true immortal stared at Lin Tiandao. "If I don't kill you, you and the Manwë dynasty will not target me in the future? I believe that, but do you believe that?" Lin Tian looked at the true immortal. A strange light flashed in the eyes of the blue-robed true immortal of the Manwë dynasty. He nodded and said, "I swear, as long as you." Clang! The hum of the sword was ear-piercing. Lin Tian swung his sword, and a sharp sword light slashed toward the true immortal. If he didn't kill him, this true immortal would not target him? That was a joke. It was impossible. As long as this person was still alive, he would definitely use an even more powerful method to find him and kill him. This was something that even a fool could see, so how could he not understand? He couldn't be bothered to listen to this true immortal's nonsense. The sharp sword light he slashed out reached the blue-robed true immortal in the blink of an eye and slashed straight through. Poof! For a moment, blood splattered. The blue-robed true immortal was smashed to pieces. He raised his left hand and clenched it into a fist. The sea of lightning immediately gathered, and the dense silver lightning converged into a thunderous sword. It slashed down on the blue-robed true immortal's body and the true immortal spirit, directly smashing them to pieces. In an instant, both body and spirit were destroyed. In an instant, the place fell silent. The three true immortals of the Manwë dynasty and the two true immortals who were independent cultivators, without exception, were all killed in this place. They're all wiped out. In the Huai forest, Whooshing Crocodile watched this scene with flickering eyes. From the beginning of the battle until now, only an hour had passed. In this hour, Lin Tianyi had cleanly killed 5 true immortal experts. Next to him, little Taichu was the same. His eyes could not help but tremble slightly. Those 5 people were all killed? Are they really dead this time? A villager asked in a trembling voice. At the beginning, the brown-haired true immortal's chest was pierced through by a sword. It seemed that he was going to die, but he did not. Later in the battle, through the divine sense imprint projected by Whooshing Crocodile, they saw that the bodies of several true immortal experts were blown to pieces several times, but they still came back to life. Therefore, at this time, although the 5 true immortals did not reappear in the image projected by Whooshing Crocodile, they still did not know whether they were really dead or not. "They're dead," Whooshing Crocodile said. At the same time, the divine sense imprint projected by the villagers cracked and dissipated in the blink of an eye. Hearing Whooshing Crocodile's words, the villagers could not help but tremble. Those 5 people had severely injured Snow Wolf, who was closely related to their village, and destroyed the resting place of the most important witch in their village. They were full of anger toward those 5 people. At this time, seeing Lin Tiansha and the 5 dead people, they could not help but feel relieved. However, at the same time, their faces were slightly pale. After all, they were just ordinary mortals. Seeing 5 people die in front of them, and their bodies were shattered again and again along the way, made them tremble. Thousands of feet away, Lin Tian's body was stained with blood. It was the blood of the 5 true immortals, and also his own blood. At the same time, his face was slightly pale. After all, he had fought and killed 5 true immortal experts alone. Even though he had used the Transcendence Elixir and the power of faith to increase his battle strength by dozens of times, and even destroyed a true immortal artifact to kill his enemies, he still suffered some injuries. With a slight thought, he stored the Xian Luo sword into his body. Then looking toward the Huai tree forest, he appeared outside in one step. He walked in from outside the Huai tree forest, nodded to Whooshing Crocodile and little Taichu, and slowly walked to the blood-stained Snow Wolf. At this time, the Snow Wolf's life force was even weaker and could be extinguished at any time. The Snow Wolf's demonic eyes were very dim, and there was no light. At this moment, it could see that Lin Tian had returned. Blood was dripping from its mouth, and its dim eyes looked at Lin Tian. It moved its mouth, but could not make a sound. Lin Tian could understand that the other party was saying thank you to him. Chapter 1505. Lin Tian looked at the Snow Wolf. It was covered in blood, and its life force was too weak. It could die at any time. "There's no need to do this," he said. The Snow Wolf's eyes were already very dim. There was no luster. It knew what Lin Tian was talking about, but it did not respond. Perhaps it feels that if that which hadn't saved it back then, its life would have ended hundreds of thousands of years ago, and it wouldn't have lived until now. However, the scene of the 1,000 illusion divine orchid blooming only lasts for 2 hours. It has lived for hundreds of thousands of years because of the witch, but the scene of the 1,000 illusion divine orchid blooming can only be displayed in this place for 2 hours at most. It has already lived for hundreds of thousands of years, and it has to at least preserve this short period of time for that witch. Whooshing Crocodile said. Lin Tian was silent. How could he not think of something that Whooshing Crocodile could think of? At this moment, looking at the Snow Wolf, he really didn't know how to persuade it. On the side, the villagers looked at the Snow Wolf with worry on their faces. The old doctors in the village had already taken out all kinds of herbs to help the Snow Wolf stop the bleeding and treat it but it was useless. Now, the Snow Wolf's injuries were something that even a golden immortal could not do anything about. How could these ordinary people's medical skills be able to cure it? At this time, in this place, only the 1,000 illusion divine orchid could completely cure the Snow Wolf. However, the Snow Wolf himself was unwilling. Even if it meant death, it would maintain the scene of the 1,000 illusion divine orchid blooming for 2 hours. Buzz! All kinds of divine light interweaved in this place. Immortal herbs, divine trees, strange flowers, and all kinds of beautiful scenery appeared one by one. The dilapidated locust tree forest was enveloped by the strange phenomenon of the sea of flowers, interweaving a peerless scenery that was like a poem and a painting. It was magnificent. Snow Wolf's aura was rapidly fading away. His dim eyes were fixed on the witch's tombstone. Lin Tian looked at the other party. Even though the other party's eyes were so dim that they seemed to be about to turn pitch black, he could still see the color of satisfaction in them. Even though he was about to die, he had brought the 1,000 illusion god orchid and was able to guarantee that the 1,000 illusion god orchid would bloom for 2 hours. To be able to die in the witch's resting place, this Snow Wolf felt that this life was not in vain. Looking at her, he really didn't know what to say. He could only feel deeply moved in his heart. This Snow Wolf, how precious were the feelings of the other party. No other treasure could compare to it. Who? In the ruined scholar tree forest, gusts of wind blew, bringing with them the scattered scholar tree leaves. The sound of a zither suddenly rang out. It was tranquil and peaceful, and it came from the witch's tomb. In the blink of an eye, the entire ruined scholar tree forest was filled with the sound of the zither. The tranquil melody gathered but did not disperse. Lin Tian was moved. The zither music that he had heard before appeared again. Moreover, it was even more tranquil than before. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu were also moved. Obviously, they had also heard the zither music that was even more tranquil than before. This is zither music? There's zither music. It's zither music. I heard it. It's zither music. It's coming from the witch's tombstone. I heard it too. The witch's spirit has manifested? The villagers were both excited and shocked. Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were also moved. At this time, these ordinary people could also hear that kind of zither music. I heard it. I heard it too. I actually heard the sound of the witch's zither. Is it really the sound that the witch left behind when she played the zither? The old man with the walking stick was so excited that he trembled. Not long ago, he was still lamenting that he also wanted to hear that kind of zither music. Now, not long after, he heard it. In front of the witch's tomb, Snow Wolf was covered in blood. He was originally unable to move, but now he couldn't help but tremble violently. He also heard the zither music. At this time, he looked at the witch's tombstone. His broken demon body kept trembling, and tears gradually fell from his dim and lusterless eyes. Back then, when it was still young, it almost became food for a ferocious ape. It was saved by a witch who happened to be picking herbs in the forest. She treated its injuries and kept it by her side for the next few days. It was then that she discovered the seedling of the 1,000 illusion orchid. At that time, the witch looked at the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid and sighed with emotion. The scenery of the sacred orchid blooming is very beautiful. I really want to see it, but I can't see it. He was right next to her and heard every word. However, it was still very young at that time, so it didn't understand why the witch would say things like, I can't see anymore. After that, it would go to the witch's village from time to time to see her and listen to her playing the zither in the Huai tree forest. With the zither music, it, who was already extraordinary, gradually gained a lot of insights and found its own way of cultivation. It slowly grew on this path, and it also felt that the witch was not ordinary and was very powerful. Then more than 10 years passed in a flash. One day, when he stepped into the village again, he found that the witch had passed away. He was immediately heartbroken and tearfully built a tomb for the witch. He carved a tombstone with flame stone and stood guard for the witch's tomb for 49 days. It was also at that time that he finally understood why the witch said that when she saw the 1,000 sacred orchid seedling, the scenery of the sacred orchid blooming is very beautiful. I really want to see it, but I can't see it. The witch already knew that she didn't have much time left to live and couldn't wait for the sacred orchid to bloom. At that time, he left after 49 days of guarding the witch's tomb. He found the place where the witch found the 1,000 sacred orchid seedling and stood guard there. At that time, he made up his mind to guard the 1,000 sacred orchid until it bloomed and then bring it to the witch's tomb. When the witch was alive, she wanted to see the 1,000 sacred orchid bloom, but didn't have the chance. But at the very least, he wanted to present the scenery of the 1,000 sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb. After more than 10,000 years, he had always guarded the 1,000 sacred orchid and cultivated to the true, immortal realm. Now that the 1,000 sacred orchid had bloomed, he brought it here and perfectly presented the scenery of the 1,000 sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb. He felt very satisfied. But even so, even if he did this, the witch was still dead. Now that he heard the zither music again, he couldn't help but cry. He hoped that the witch was still alive. She had always been alive. Whoosh! A gentle breeze swept through this space. The melodious zither music lingered in the high tree forest, gathering and not dispersing. Then, the thickest zither music circled around Snow Wolf, and it was even more peaceful. Lin Tian looked at Snow Wolf, and his eyes couldn't help but flicker. The zither music here was so strong that even the ordinary villagers could hear it. Was it because of Snow Wolf's obsession? Yeah. Little Taichu and Lin Tian had the same thoughts. At this time, they also felt a little uncomfortable looking at Snow Wolf. The sound of the zither drifted through the broken scholar tree forest, interweaving with the strange phenomena created by the 1,000 divine orchid. It was even more beautiful and magnificent. Time passed in the blink of an eye. Half an hour passed. At this time, almost 2 hours had passed since the 1,000 sacred orchid first bloomed. The vision of the sea of flowers became even more dazzling, as if it was the final radiance of the setting sun before it was about to dry up. Snow Wolf looked at the witch's tomb. The light of life in his eyes was about to disappear completely. He was about to die, but he didn't care at all. He didn't have the slightest reluctance to leave this world. He seemed very peaceful, as if he could go to another world and see the witch again if he died now. He moved his gaze and looked at Lin Tian. His lips moved, and finally he silently said, "Thank you." Then his gaze fell on the witch's tomb again. For a moment, the wind here became stronger, and the zither music in the broken Huai tree forest became louder. Lin Tian looked at him, at the witch's tomb, and at the withered 1,000 sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb. He clenched his fists. "Enough," he said. He moved his divine power, and the dragon patterns on the bottom of his feet spread out. He directly swept up the 1,000 sacred orchid in front of the witch's tomb. 2 hours are almost up. It's really enough. There's no need to sacrifice your life. He circulated his divine power. At the moment when the 1,000 sacred orchid was about to dry up, he forcibly began to refine it with his divine power. He sent strands of medicinal essence into the Snow Wolf's body. At this time, only the 1,000 sacred orchid could save this Snow Wolf. He really couldn't bear to see him die. It would be too much of a pity for such a loyal Snow Wolf to die like this. He should live well. Therefore, at this time, even if the Snow Wolf was unwilling to refine the 1,000 sacred orchid to heal his injuries, he didn't care. He forcibly took the 1,000 sacred orchid and refined it. He sent its medicinal essence into the severely injured Snow Wolf's body to help the severely injured Snow Wolf recover. The effect of the 1,000 sacred orchid was indeed astonishing. As he refined the 1,000 sacred orchid and sent its medicinal essence into the Snow Wolf's body, the Snow Wolf's injuries began to heal in an instant. His life force, which was about to be extinguished, quickly recovered. The Snow Wolf's body trembled. Clearly, he didn't expect Lin Tian to do this. Anxiety immediately appeared in his demon eyes. He didn't want this to happen. Don't struggle. Relax and let the medicinal essence heal your injuries. Then live. Lin Tian looked at him, then at the witch's tomb in front of him. He said, if that witch's soul knows that you gave up your life in order to let the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid bloom in front of her tomb, she won't be happy at all. She'll only be sad. Bratlin is right. If you die here, that witch definitely won't be happy. Whooshing Crocodile also spoke. The little Taichu looked at the snow wolf and made a babyish ya sound. It was clearly expressing the same thoughts as Lin Tian and Whooshing Crocodile. The snow wolf trembled slightly when he heard this. After struggling a few more times, he stopped moving. Now there was no use in struggling. He could only look straight at the witch's tomb, his demon eyes filled with unconcealable sadness. Being alive is also a way to repay that witch's kindness. She saved you back then because she wanted you to live well. Lin Tian said. He vibrated his divine power and quickly refined the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. He sent the medicinal essence of the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid into the snow wolf's body, causing the snow wolf's injuries to heal even faster. Chapter 1506. The divine orchid intertwined with immortal light. Lin Tian refined it with his divine power, and the medicinal power transformed into pure divine light that surged toward the heavily injured snow wolf. It could be seen that the snow wolf's damaged body, to the point where its bones and internal organs could be seen, was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Its essence, energy, and spirit were recovering rapidly, and its life force was gradually becoming stronger. All the villagers were astonished at this place. They were only ordinary mortals and couldn't sense the changes in the snow wolf's essence, energy, and life aura, but they could see the snow wolf's damaged body rapidly healing. This shocked them, and many of them couldn't help but tremble. However, after seeing the terrifying and fantastical scenes from before, these villagers' astonishment disappeared in an instant. Instead, it was replaced by excitement and anticipation. Because on the surface, the snow wolf's injuries were rapidly healing, and it seemed that it wouldn't be long before it fully recovered and regained its vitality. This naturally made them very happy, because this snow wolf had a very close relationship with their village. Buzz! The 1,000 illusion orchid glowed, and the miraculous medicinal power of the divine orchid rapidly surged into the snow wolf's body under Lin Tian's control. In the blink of an eye, more than an hour passed. More than an hour later, with a crack, the 1,000 illusion orchid shattered, and the snow wolf's injured body was completely healed. Its essence, energy, and spirit were restored to their peak, and it could move on its own, standing up from the ground. Recovered? It's fine. At this place, all the villagers were very excited when they saw the recovered snow wolf. Everyone rushed forward and surrounded it. Many people reached out to stroke the snow wolf's fur. Seeing that it had truly recovered, they were all even happier. No one was afraid of this snow wolf. After all, one reason was that these villagers didn't know how terrifying this snow wolf's battle prowess was. Another reason was that this snow wolf truly had a close relationship with the village, and these villagers completely treated the snow wolf as one of their own. No matter how strong and powerful their own people were, who would be afraid? The snow wolf returned to normal. Its body was not much different from that of an ordinary snow wolf. It did not resist the touch of these ordinary villagers. This village was the village that the witches had protected and lived in. It naturally had a sense of familiarity with these villagers. He stood up and looked at the witch's tomb in front of him. There was a hint of sadness in his demonic eyes that could not be concealed. It had been tens of thousands of years since the witches had passed away, but to him, it was as if it had just happened yesterday. Buzz! Its demonic body moved slightly, and a gentle demonic light spread out, carrying with it a rich, true, immortal aura and immortal Tao laws. The demonic radiance spread out and enveloped the entire ruined scholar tree forest in the blink of an eye. For a moment, the soil on the ground of the ruined locust tree forest trembled slightly. The collapsed locust tree trees began to grow again at an extremely fast speed. In just a dozen breaths, a new locust tree forest grew in this place. It was not much different from the locust tree forest before it was destroyed. To true immortal experts, making destroyed vegetation grow back was not a difficult task. It was very simple. Seeing this scene, all of the villagers were shocked. The broken locust tree forest was restored in the blink of an eye. It was truly shocking. The snow wolf stared fixedly at the witch's tomb. After dozens of breaths, it shifted its gaze and walked towards Lin Tian. Soon it arrived in front of Lin Tian. Human, thank you. It did not take human form. It had cultivated to the true immortal realm in its beast form. Like the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu, it lowered its head slightly when it heard Lin Tian's voice. Lin Tian and it did not know each other, but for its sake, in order to protect the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid that it had brought for the witch, he fought against 5 true immortals alone. This made the snow wolf extremely grateful. Forcefully refining the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid was also to save it. At this moment, it only felt deep gratitude towards Lin Tian. Lin Tian shook his head. He looked at the snow wolf and said, "No need. What you did for the witch is worthy of my battle." The snow wolf did not say much. It looked at Lin Tian and lowered its head slightly, using this method to thank Lin Tian. "Don't be like this. Raise your head," Lin Tian said. For a true immortal expert who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years, lowering its head to him at this moment could be said to be the highest form of courtesy. It was very solemn. The snow wolf lowered its head slightly. Although Lin Tian had spoken, it did not raise its head until dozens of breaths later. "Thank you." It spoke again. It valued friendship, but it was not good at talking. Other than saying thank you, it did not know how to say other grand words. Then, its gaze fell on the witch's tomb in the locust tree forest again. There was still a faint sadness in its demonic eyes. Lin Tian did not say anything. He looked at the snow wolf and then looked at the witch's tomb. He could not help but sigh slightly. Whether it was the witch or the snow wolf, they all valued the word kindness very much. He stood beside the snow wolf and looked at the witch's tomb with the snow wolf. Beside them, the whooshing crocodile and the little Taichu were also looking at the witch's tomb quietly. All the villagers were also doing the same at this moment. Soon, on this day, the sky became dark. The stars dotted the starry sky, and the full moon sprinkled silver moonlight all over the sky. Lin Tian, the whooshing crocodile, the little Taichu, and the snow wolf were welcomed into a nearby village by the villagers. A lot of food was prepared. Lin Tian, the whooshing crocodile, the little Taichu, and the snow wolf temporarily stayed in the village. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. On this day, Lin Tian was ready to leave. It was impossible for him to stay in this small village forever. "What about you?" he asked the snow wolf. The snow wolf looked in the direction of the locust tree forest. There was a hint of sadness in its eyes. Then, the sadness gradually disappeared. It said, "I'll stay here and guard her tomb. I'll live in this village on her behalf." It said, "Like her, I won't teach the people in the village to cultivate. I won't interfere with their original path of life. Like her, I'll quietly guard here." The power of cultivators was very strong, far beyond that of mortals. However, how could the cruelty of the cultivation world be compared to that of the mortal world? Back then, the witch didn't want to drag the people in the village into the cruel cultivation world, so she didn't bring the power of cultivation to the villagers. It was very clear about this point. Therefore, it would guard here and guard this village on behalf of the witch. It wouldn't teach the people in the village to cultivate. It would silently guard the ordinary life of the village like the witch. As it spoke, it looked at Lin Tian and thanked Lin Tiandao again. Then, its demonic power moved slightly, and a jade bottle flew out of its body. It was a space magic treasure. It floated straight to Lin Tian. There are many heavenly materials and earthly treasures in here, all of which grew next to the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. Although their value is not as high as the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid, they're still useful to you. At least, they can help you and your two companions reach the eternal peak at the same time. At the same time, there are some other things in here. I got them from a big tomb in the mountain range where the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid grew. I'll give them all to you. Thank you. Thank you for your kindness. Chapter 1507. Looking at the space jade bottle handed over by Snow Wolf, Lin Tian did not refuse. According to Snow Wolf, the treasures of heaven and earth in the jade bottle were indeed useful to him, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. And they could help him, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu, improve their cultivation from the middle stage of the eternal realm to the peak of the eternal realm. Then, these treasures of heaven and earth were of no use to Snow Wolf. After all, Snow Wolf's cultivation was now at the level of the genuine immortal realm. Thank you. He put away the small jade bottle and thanked Snow Wolf. At the same time, he opened his mouth again and asked Snow Wolf to raise his head. An expert of the genuine immortal realm bowed his head to him like this. And it was not the first time. It really made him feel a little ashamed. Snow Wolf raised his head. He was still in his monster form and did not transform into his human form. Lin Tian and the others chatted with Snow Wolf for a long time, and then they said goodbye. Goodbye, Lin Tian said. Take care, Snow Wolf replied. Lin Tian nodded and waved at Snow Wolf. He took one last look in the direction of the Huai Tree Forest and then turned and left with Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. Snow Wolf stood outside the village until Lin Tianyi and the others were completely gone and disappeared from his sight. Only then did he return to the village. Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu left the village. At this time, they had already walked far away and were walking in a mountain. Boy, find a hidden place and see what treasures of heaven and earth are in the small jade bottle. Then refine them and improve your cultivation. Wuxing Crocodile said. Snow Wolf gave them a small jade bottle, saying that it contained a lot of heaven and earth treasures, which could help them reach the peak of the eternal realm from the middle stage of the eternal realm at the same time. At this time, it couldn't wait to see what kind of heaven and earth treasures were in the small jade bottle. Then, it could refine these heaven and earth treasures and raise its cultivation from the middle stage of the eternal realm to the peak of the eternal realm. Lin Tian nodded. In fact, he was also a little concerned about this. He immediately spread out his divine sense and found a hidden cave. The cave was relatively large. It was roughly 10 feet tall and occupied an area of several hundred square meters. He set up 9 ceiling formations near the cave, then took out the small jade bottle he got from Snow Wolf. Using his divine sense, he poured out all the contents of the bottle and piled them up in the cave. Among them, most of them were some immortal medicine and divine medicine, which immediately filled the cave with spiritual energy and medicinal fragrance, causing the man and the 2 beasts to involuntarily relax, giving rise to a comfortable feeling. Divine Thunder Sparrow Ganoderma, Golden Rainbow Ginseng, 9-leaf Tao Lotus, 3-color Jade Stalk, Flame Spirit Fruit, Soul Forging Immortal Root. The man and the 2 beasts were shocked. There were too many kinds of heaven and earth treasures in the small jade bottle. There were dozens of them, and they were all very valuable. For eternal realm experts, they could be called immortal treasures. They could directly improve the cultivation of eternal realm experts. They roughly estimated that the quantity of these heavenly materials and earthly treasures was enough to allow dozens of middle-stage eternal experts to step into the peak of the eternal realm. The overall value of this place was quite amazing. It could be considered a super treasure trove. I heard from that guy that these heaven and earth treasures were all obtained near the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid. There are so many heaven and earth treasures in that land. This is simply... Wuxing Crocodile's eyes widened. The land where the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid grows is very unusual. I've seen it before. The soil there is a very special kind of 3-colored spiritual soil. Even a divine object like the 1,000 illusion sacred orchid can grow perfectly on that kind of spiritual soil. It's normal that so many heaven and earth treasures can grow there. Lin Tiandao. In addition to these extraordinary heaven and earth treasures, There were many other things in the small jade bottle. There were all kinds of extraordinary precious weapons such as the Baodan. They should have been obtained from a large tomb in the mountain range where the 1,000 illusions sacred orchid grew, as Snow Wolf said. Lin Tian glanced at these things, and his eyes suddenly fell on a piece of yellow sheepskin. His expression suddenly changed. There were many things engraved on the sheepskin. It looked like a map. His eyes fell directly on the center of the sheepskin map, where a small colorful circle was engraved. It was marked with a very important note. Is this the sword soul fragment? His eyes flickered. A small colorful circle was drawn on the map, and then a very important mark was made. It showed that the small colorful circle was extraordinary. He instantly associated it with the sword soul fragment. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu naturally noticed his strange expression. They all came up and looked at the sheepskin map. Then they saw the small colorful circle on the map. A small colorful circle with an important mark? Do you think that might be the kind of colorful light source you found several times before? Wuxing Crocodile asked. Naturally, it could guess what Lin Tian was thinking at this time. It also had the same conjecture. Lin Tian looked at the small colorful circle in the center of the sheepskin map. There was a little glimmer in his eyes. He said, I'm not sure, but at least there is a small possibility. Master Crocodile thinks so too. Then, let's hurry up and refine these treasures of heaven and earth to raise our cultivation to the eternal peak. Then, let's go to the place marked on this map. Wuxing Crocodile said. It knew that there were many kinds of colorful light sources scattered all over the world. Lin Tianyi had been looking for them, which was very important to Lin Tian. Lin Tian nodded. This sheepskin map should be obtained by Snow Wolf in the big tomb in the mountain range where the 1,000 illusion god orchid grew. Their group had been on this star for a long time. They knew many things about this star. It could be seen that the area recorded on the sheepskin map was on this ancient star. Since a group of colorful light sources was highlighted, it might be the sword soul fragment. He naturally had to go and take a look. He put away the sheepskin map and some other things, leaving enough treasures of heaven and earth outside. Let's start, he said to Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu. At that moment, in this cave, they ran the ancient method and cultivated with the help of the many treasures of heaven and earth in the small jade bottle. Buzz! 3 different colors of light intertwined in this place in the blink of an eye, illuminating the cave. In this way, half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Half a month later, on this day, a strong fluctuation of divine power spread in this cave. Lin Tian was the first to make progress, stepping from the middle stage of the eternal realm to the eternal peak stage. Subsequently, Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu rushed out of their bodies one after another, each stepping into the eternal peak stage. The true immortal realm is coming soon. Wuxing Crocodile was a little excited. There were several watersheds on the road of cultivation, namely the immortal realm, the great path realm, the eternal realm, the true immortal realm, and the true God realm. Among them, the immortal realm transformed genuine Qi into divine power. The great path realm controlled the great path law. The eternal realm achieved immortality. The true immortal realm controlled the immortal path law, and the true God realm controlled the complete divine path law. Now, they were in the watershed period of the cross-domain true immortal realm. Once they stepped into it, their strength in all aspects would increase dramatically. Don't be excited, it's still early to reach the true immortal realm. Lin Tiandao. After a cultivator stepped into the eternal realm and cultivated all the way to the eternal peak stage, the cultivation after that was to begin to comprehend the immortal path that existed between heaven and earth, capture the immortal path, and then condense celestial core power in the body. Once the first celestial core power was condensed, one could step from the eternal peak stage to the half-step true immortal realm. True immortal Qi and the immortal path law would intertwine. Next, one had to continue to comprehend the immortal path and condense celestial core power. One had to condense 9 celestial core power in the body in a row, and then integrate these 9 celestial core power to truly comprehend the corresponding immortal path of these 9 celestial core power. Only then could one step from the eternal realm to the true immortal realm. Simply put, after stepping into the eternal peak stage, one needed to comprehend the immortal path and condense 9 celestial core power in the body to step into the true immortal realm. Isn't it just 9 celestial core power? It won't take long for Lord Crocodile to settle it, and then step into the true immortal realm. Whooshing Crocodile was quite proud. Lin Tian glanced at it, and then said, "Consolidate the realm first." At that moment, he, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu stayed in this cave, each operating their ancient scriptures to consolidate their current cultivation level. It wasn't until 3 days later that they woke up and stabilized their eternal peak cultivation. Lin Tianwei exhaled a turbid breath slightly. At this time, her physical body, sea of consciousness, soul, and other aspects were much stronger. At the same time, Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu's essence, qi, and spirit were many times stronger than when they were in the eternal middle stage. Lin Tian waved his hand and took out the sheepskin map again at this time. His gaze fell on the small, colorful circle in the center of the map, and his eyes were intertwined with wisps of light. "Let's go and have a look," he said. It was just a small 7-colored circle marked on the map, but he felt that it was a sword soul fragment. Maybe he was a little sensitive, but maybe that small 7-colored circle was really a sword soul fragment. No matter what, he had to go and take a look. The sword soul fragment was too important to him. Whooshing Crocodile nodded and said, "Let's go." At that moment, one person and 2 beasts walked out of the cave and followed the records on the sheepskin map. After about 3 days, they came to a relatively deep valley. Looking from the outside, the space in the valley seemed to be very large, and there were wisps of gray and black fog lingering in it. It looked like a piece of underworld. Outside the valley, there was a stone tablet full of cracks on the edge. The stone tablet was about 5 inches high, and there were 4 ancient words imprinted on it. "Ghost Death Valley." "It doesn't sound like a good place," Whooshing Crocodile said. "It doesn't look like one." Lin Tian looked into the valley and said. Then he did not stay in this place. He called Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu and stepped directly into the valley. Now that their cultivation had reached the peak of the eternal realm, and the 5 elements Crocodile and Little Taichu each had an Ascension Divine pill that could increase their battle prowess by 10 times. It could be said that they were bold because of their skills, and they had all kinds of strong means. Therefore, although they could see that this place was not a friendly place, they were not afraid at all. Chapter 1508. Lin Tianyi and the others stepped into the Ghost Death Valley. Looking around, wisps of grayish-black fog floated in the valley, and the air seemed a little cold. At the same time, the soil in the valley was blood-red, as if it had been soaked in blood. "This valley is really big," Whooshing Crocodile said. Lin Tian nodded. After entering the valley, he glanced around briefly and found that the area of the valley was indeed astonishingly large. Even with his current cultivation at the peak of the eternal realm, he could not see the border of the valley. "Let's go to the central area," he said. The sheepskin map showed the Ghost Death Valley, and the location of the small colorful circle, which might be the sword soul fragment, was located in the center of the valley. He called out to Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu and walked toward the center of the valley. In the valley, the soil was blood red, and there were potholes everywhere. Moreover, in some potholes, there was a liquid that looked like real blood, emitting a fishy smell. It was very unpleasant. The man and the 2 beasts walked toward the center, and soon they were far away. The valley was very spacious. At this time, the ground in front of them suddenly wriggled, and rotten arms stretched out from the ground. In the blink of an eye, several rotting corpses crawled out from the ground. They growled and directly pounced on Lin Tian and the others. Lin Tian flicked his finger, and several sword rays flew out. Clang! The sword light emitted clanging sounds as it flew through the air, directly chopping several rotting corpses into pieces, all of them exploding into pieces. These rotting corpses were at most comparable to great path cultivators, so naturally they were easily dealt with. The man and the two beasts' expressions did not change as they continued to walk toward the center. After that, they walked for thousands of feet in the blink of an eye. Along the way, they encountered many evil corpses, but they were nothing. They were all eliminated by Lin Tian very easily. At this time, the grayish-black fog in the air increased, and many mountains appeared in front of them. Most of the mountains were black, and there was no vegetation on them. Most of them were blood-red soil and grayish-black stones. Why is there a mountain moving? Whooshing Crocodile looked ahead and asked suspiciously. As far as the eye could see, there were more than 10 mountains in front of them. They were all roughly several hundred feet tall, and one of them was actually trembling. Lin Tian naturally saw and noticed this scene. A faint light flashed in his eyes as his expression changed. "What mountain? That's a corpse beast," he said. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, the moving mountain that Whooshing Crocodile was talking about shook even more violently, and an extremely thick aura of death spread out. "Roar!" A vicious roar echoed out from within the mountain. Rumbling sounds could be heard as the surrounding mist dispersed. More than half of the 10 or so mountains had been shattered by the roar. The actual appearance of this mountain became clear in an instant. It was a corpse beast that was over 100 meters tall. Its entire body was rotten, and its pupils were shockingly large. It was pitch black in color, as if it had stepped out of the netherworld, and it emitted an oppressive aura of death. "It's really a zombie beast. How can it be so big?" Whooshing Crocodile stared with wide eyes. Because of the lingering mist, it actually thought that this zombie beast was a huge mountain. "It's so big." Little Taichu looked at the zombie beast in front of it and could not help but mutter in a childish voice. The corpse beast that was over 100 meters tall was indeed a little shocking. "Roar!" In front of them, the zombie beast let out another vicious roar. Its huge eyes looked over and naturally saw Lin Tianyi and the others. It was like a huge mountain, and it directly rushed over. Its size was very shocking, but its movements were not clumsy at all. It was very fast. As it rushed over, the intertwining aura of death around its body became stronger. Wherever it passed, the air was corroded and sizzled. It's comparable to a half-step genuine immortal who has condensed 3 strands of celestial core power. The 5 Elements Crocodile was a little surprised. The strength of this huge and extremely fast zombie beast was truly terrifying. Sizzling sounds could be heard. Wherever the zombie beast passed, the air was corroded. Lin Tian looked at the zombie beast rushing over. His expression was very calm. He faced the huge body of the zombie beast and directly punched it. He only threw a simple punch, but the void in front of him shattered on the spot. Then, in the next moment, his fist landed firmly on the body of the huge zombie beast that was rushing over. Bang! With a muffled sound, the zombie beast was directly sent flying. Large amounts of black blood splattered and fell on the ground, corroding a large part of the surface. Whooshing Crocodile rolled its eyes. In any case, it's comparable to a half-step genuine immortal who has condensed 3 strands of celestial core power. You actually sent it flying with a casual punch. This physique. It clicked its tongue and said, as expected of the strongest imperial physique, "Roar!" The vicious roar sounded again. In the distance, the zombie beast that was sent flying by Lin Tianyi's punch rushed over again. A certain part of its body was severely damaged by Lin Tian's punch just now. Black blood kept flowing out, and the stench was unpleasant. "Let's try the strength of a full-strength punch," he muttered to himself. Facing the incoming zombie beast, he leaped more than 1,000 feet high and then landed. He clenched his right fist and punched down with all his strength. Boom! Like a thunderclap, the space was directly blasted through. Then, in the next moment, his fist landed firmly on the zombie beast's head, causing an extremely violent explosion. Pitch-black blood splattered everywhere, and the huge stone beast, which was hundreds of feet tall, trembled violently and was directly smashed into pieces by the fist. "F***, you damn perverts!" Whooshing Crocodile cursed. A half-step genuine immortal who had condensed 3 strands of celestial core power was blasted into a cloud of blood mist with just one punch. It's seriously suspected that Lin Tian's current physical strength was not inferior to a genuine immortal powerhouse. Yeah, little Taichu's childish voice sounded. It was obviously shocked by Lin Tian's punch. It was really strong. Lin Tian landed on the ground from the sky. He looked at his right fist and clenched it slightly. A smile appeared on his face. Not bad, he muttered to himself. His cultivation had reached the peak of the eternal realm. His current physical strength was much stronger than when he was at the middle stage of the eternal realm. Crack! Suddenly, a crisp sound rang out from the ground. On the surface of the ground, cracks appeared and spread out like a spider web. Then, in the next moment, the entire surface of this place collapsed, revealing a dark underground world. As this underground world was exposed, an extremely terrifying aura of death rushed up. In the blink of an eye, the sky of this place was dyed black. The scene was extremely frightening. Contrary to this incomparably terrifying aura of death was mixed with extremely vigorous fluctuations of life. It was as if there was a source of life located below. Lin Tian rose into the air the moment before the surface collapsed. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu also rose to a higher altitude. At this time, they looked at the underground world below and were all shocked. There is an underground world in this place? Wuxing Crocodile was shocked. It knew that at this time, the reason why the surface of this place was broken was entirely because of Lin Tian's punch that had just bombarded the zombie beast. That punch not only smashed the stone beast, but also caused the surface of this place to collapse and collapse through the body of the zombie beast. Then, this underground world was revealed. Otherwise, this underground world would not have been exposed. What's the deal with the aura of death below? How can it be so thick? Also, how can there be such a strong aura of life and such a strong aura of death? It looked at the underground world below, its eyes full of shock. Lin Tian was also surprised. Then, in the next moment, his expression changed again. Something is coming out. Chapter 1509. Hearing Lin Tian's words, Wuxing Crocodile was a little suspicious. What's going to rush out? Could there be? Whoosh! 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 The sound of something breaking through the air interrupted Wuxing Crocodile's words. In the next moment, dense tentacles rushed out from the ground. Each tentacle was at least 10 feet thick, covered in disgusting mucus, and emitting a strong stench. What's this? Wuxing Crocodile was shocked. The dense tentacles rushed out at an extremely fast speed, as if they could sense the existence of the human and the 2 beasts. They directly swept towards them at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were all wrapped up in 3 tentacles. Then they dragged the human and the 2 beasts directly into the underground world. The whole process was so fast that even Lin Tian, who had sensed something rushing out, did not have time to react. Moreover, the strength and toughness of these tentacles were so amazing that the human and the 2 beasts could not break free in a short time. In the blink of an eye, they were dragged into the underground world. The entire underground world was dark. They saw the body of the tentacles that had wrapped them up. It was also a zombie beast like an octopus. It was bigger than the previous zombie beast, and its aura was more terrifying. It's comparable to a half-step true immortal who has condensed 8 strands of celestial core power. Wuxing Crocodile was shocked. Lin Tian was also surprised that there was such a strong zombie beast in this place. It would be a true immortal if it took another step forward. This octopus-like zombie beast had a frightening number of tentacles. 3 tentacles wrapped around Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu, respectively, and pulled the human and the 2 beasts closer. Its pupils could not be seen, and only a bloody mouth was opened. An extremely foul smell came from this big mouth, and a little bit of dirty yellow liquid flowed out. Obviously, this was the rhythm of swallowing the human and the 2 beasts. A glimmer of light flashed in Lin Tian's eyes. With a move of his mind, his tyrannical physique shook violently, intertwining a majestic force and shaking the tentacles that wrapped around him into pieces. Clang! He swept out 2 golden sword lights and cut off the 2 tentacles that wrapped around Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu. It's comparable to a zombie beast that has condensed 8 strands of celestial core power. Lord Crocodile can't break free in a short time, Whooshing Crocodile said. After reaching Eternal Peak, Crocodile's 9 strands of celestial core power to condense each strand of celestial core power. Condensed celestial core power is cultivation, and its body two's the most SSSS. Lin, Lord Crocodile's crocodile. To Lin, to crocodile, a crocodile, the octopus-like zombie beast, had a lot of tentacles. At this time, the dense tentacles swept toward the human and the 2 beasts. For a time, the void in this place was penetrated by these tentacles. Kid, deal with it? Whooshing Crocodile said. Lin Tian nodded. The towering heaven sword scripture surged. He waved his hand and slashed out a dense sword light, cutting off all the tentacles. Immediately, he appeared on top of the zombie beast's head and directly pressed down with a heavy punch. In a shrill scream, the zombie beast was blasted into pieces. Whooshing Crocodile rolled his eyes. The zombie beast that is comparable to condensing 8 strands of celestial core power was actually smashed into pieces by such a punch. It's said that the zombie beast can be comparable to a cultivator who has condensed 8 strands of celestial core power. In fact, its combat power is far inferior to a human cultivator who has condensed 8 strands of celestial core power. Its physique is stronger than a human cultivator of the same level. In terms of physique, I can firmly crush it, so it's not a big deal, Lin Tian said. Although that's the case, it's still very abnormal, Whooshing Crocodile said, and then said, look at this underground world. Lin Tian nodded. At this moment, they were standing in midair and looking down. Only now did they notice that this underground world was an existence that was similar to a dark gorge, and the octopus-shaped corpse beast from before was in a small river beneath this dark gorge. The river water was completely yellow, as if it was formed from the convergence of corpse water, and it emitted a dense aura of death. This water seems to be gathered from above. It really looks like corpse water. The 5 elements crocodile trembled for a moment and looked towards the upper reaches of the small river. A glimmer of light flashed across its demon eyes. That very dense aura of life seems to be coming from there as well. Lin Tian nodded. He naturally felt this too. The aura of life coming from the upper reaches was very shocking and extremely strong. Such a strong aura of life. It's definitely some kind of amazing treasure. Whooshing Crocodile looked at the upper reaches of the river, then tilted his head and asked Lin Tiandao, now, should we go back to the 7-colored circle marked on the sheepskin map, or go upstream? Let's go upstream and take a look. Lin Tiandao. If the 7-colored circle marked on the sheepskin map was really the sword soul fragment, then he was not in a hurry, because only the body divine sword that controlled the sword soul fragment could obtain the sword soul fragment. He was not worried that the sword soul fragment would be taken away by others. And this place had such a strong aura of life. It was indeed something extremely extraordinary. Therefore, after a comprehensive comparison, he wanted to go upstream to take a look and obtain the treasure that was emitting such a strong aura of life. Moreover, he took a look. The upper reaches of this underground river just happened to be in the direction of the center of the Ghost Death Valley. From this place to the upper reaches of the underground river, he was actually heading towards the center of the Ghost Death Valley. It was just that later, he would need to break the layer of soil above his head and walk up from this underground world. Immediately, he called out to Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu and walked towards the upper reaches of this underground world's river. The water of the underground river was yellow. As the 3 of them went upstream, the aura of death became even stronger. Then, not long after, they gradually saw corpses floating in the river, floating down from the upper reaches. Moreover, there was more than one corpse. The 3 of them were not surprised by this. After all, in this underground world where there was such a strong aura of death, it was very normal to have a few corpses. They did not stop Following the extremely shocking aura of life, they continued to swim upstream. Very quickly, more than a quarter of an hour had passed. They had walked very far away, and the aura of death in front of them became even stronger. The aura of life also became stronger. Then, when they turned around a 90-degree corner, the scene in front of them caused their expressions to change. As far as the eye could see, they had walked to the end of the river. In front of them was an underground plain. On the surface, there were densely packed corpses scattered everywhere. The stench was very strong. Yellow liquid continuously flowed out and gathered in the river. This place, there are so many corpses. Could it be that this place was once a huge battlefield? Whooshing Crocodile was shocked. Previously, when they were walking towards this place, they saw some corpses on the surface of the river. However, there were not many corpses, so they were not surprised. However, at this time, the number of corpses in front of them was so large that it was a little frightening. They could not help but be shocked. As it said this, it looked at the river along the way. Its monster body could not help but tremble slightly. This underground river is really formed by corpse water. In front of them, the yellow liquid flowing out from the densely packed corpses was clearly corpse water. The corpse water continuously flowed into the river. Obviously, the river was formed by the corpse water continuously flowing into the same place. Not only it, but even Lin Tian was shocked. Since he started cultivating, he had been to many places of death like this place and seen many corpses. However, with so many corpses piled up together, he had never seen such a large number of corpses piled up together, except for the large crack on Earth's Mount Tai. Moreover, although there were many corpses in the large crack on Earth's Mount Tai, they had all turned into white bones. However, most of the corpses here still had flesh and blood. Of course, most of the flesh and blood were rotten. However, because of this, the scene was even more terrifying. Whoosh! Wind intertwined in this place. Wisps of black fog rolled over and over, causing people's scalps to go numb involuntarily. The man and the two beasts looked at the scene in front of them and were all shocked. However, in the next moment, their expressions changed again. That's Whooshing Crocodile's pupils shrank. Looking further ahead into the plains that were densely packed with corpses, there were many blood-colored soul shadows walking. Their bodies were surrounded by an extremely shocking amount of energy, as if they were the wandering spirits of the dead from hell. It was very horrifying. These were not simple souls, but spirits. However, although they were called spirits, they were not simple spirits. The energy surrounding them was too dense. It was much more terrifying than many Emperor-level demons. They're all walking deeper into the underground plane. What's there? Lin Tian's eyes shone with a faint light. In this place, all the spirits were walking deeper into the underground plane. Their movements were mechanical and slow, like zombies. He looked in that direction, and the faint light in his eyes gradually became denser. This was because the extremely shocking aura of life that they had sensed was also coming from that direction. Moreover, the aura of death in that place was even denser. Let's go and have a look. He called out to Whooshing Crocodile and Little Tai Chu. The number of spirits in this place was very shocking, and each of them was very terrifying. However, with the cultivation of the man and the two beasts, they naturally did not care about these spirits. Following the spirits, they walked deeper into the underground plane. Soon, they walked for more than 10,000 feet, and the number of corpses they saw along the way increased. Then, after a few dozen breaths, the number of spirits in front of them increased. They were all densely packed around a huge ancient tree. The branches of the ancient tree were green, and the leaves were pure white. It was thousands of feet tall, exuding an extremely rich aura of life. It seemed to be surrounded by an ocean of life. This is the tree of life? Whooshing Crocodile's eyes widened. How can it grow so tall? Lin Tian was also surprised. The tree of life was born from the condensation of life essence. Cultivating under it would yield twice the result with half the effort. There were many benefits. He once found a tree of life in the first heaven, but at that time, it was only about half a meter tall. However, the one in front of him was thousands of meters tall. Moreover, the life aura it exuded was far superior to that of the tree of life he found in the first heaven. It was like the difference between heaven and earth. Chapter 15:10. The tree of life, which was hundreds of feet tall, was really amazing. Its life aura was too strong and appalling. How is this an ordinary tree of life? It's simply an immortal tree of life. A tree of life. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes lit up, and he seemed a little excited. It just so happens that we've reached the peak of the eternal realm. If we cultivate under this tree of life, we'll definitely be able to comprehend the immortal Tao very quickly. At least, we'll condense a strand of immortal core power and then directly step into the half-step true immortal realm. The tree of life in front of them was really amazing. It was far beyond the scope of ordinary trees of life. It could be called a divine treasure. When a cultivator cultivated under an ordinary tree of life, 1 day's work could be equivalent to 10 days' work. But now, under such a super tree of life, 1 day's work could be equivalent to 1 year's work. Kid, hurry up, go over there, it urged Lin Tian. Lin Tian nodded. In fact, he was also very surprised to see such a super tree of life. He knew how valuable this super tree of life was. At that moment, he did not stop. Together with Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu, they all stepped toward the super tree of life in front of them. In front of them, there were many terrifying Yin spirits. Previously, because Lin Tian and the others simply followed behind without any other actions, the Yin spirits did not sense the existence of Lin Tian and the others. At this time, Lin Tian and the others stepped toward the tree of life without any hesitation. They were immediately discovered by many Yin spirits, and many of them roared. The fiendish aura and death aura surrounding these Yin spirits were extremely frightening. They were even scarier than some emperor-ranked demons. Most importantly, there were a lot of them. In an instant, as the large number of Yin spirits roared, the temperature of this underground space, which was already extremely cold, suddenly plummeted. There was even a gust of cold wind that swept up. They did not have any intelligence or consciousness. At this moment, they gathered beside the tree of life as if they were guarding some kind of treasure. As Lin Tian, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu approached the tree of life, they all became extremely ferocious. Lin Tianyi and the rest were not surprised that these Yin spirits, who were clearly dead and evil, had actually gathered around the tree of life, which was formed from life aura. This was because, to these Yin spirits, if they could obtain enough life aura, they could perhaps be reborn. At that time, it would be equivalent to obtaining a new life, allowing them to reach a higher level. Therefore, even if these Yin spirits didn't have any intelligence or consciousness, they still instinctively gathered around the tree of life, feeling that this tree of life was very useful to them. Roar! Numerous Yin spirits roared at Lin Tian, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu. Death Qi and baleful Qi intertwined together. Many Yin spirits even pounced towards them, their appearances somewhat sinister and terrifying. Lin Tian took a step forward. Without any other action, silver electric arcs naturally appeared around his body, and the thunder force bloomed. Qi! 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 A series of soft sounds were heard. The Yin spirits that pounced on him were all shattered by the thunder force that he emitted without exception. This thunder force was the power of the 5 heaven-shaking lightning technique. It was very domineering in itself, and it had a great restraining effect on Yin spirits. Even a true immortal-level evil spirit could only fear and retreat when faced with Lin Tian's 5 heaven-shaking lightning technique. Therefore, how could the Yin spirits in this place withstand this thunder force? However, although the Yin spirits that pounced on him were all shattered by the thunder force, the other Yin spirits in this place were not afraid at all. All of them roared and pounced fearlessly towards Lin Tianyi and the rest who were approaching the tree of life. Roar! The group of Yin spirits roared and pounced towards Lin Tianyi and the rest. This was not only to prevent Lin Tian and the rest from getting close to the tree of life, but also because Lin Tian and the rest were living creatures. Their bodies emitted the aura of life. This kind of aura of life was naturally attractive to the Ain spirits. Lin Tian's pace did not change at all. He did not care about the Ain spirits that pounced on him at all. He calmly moved forward. Outside his body, silver electric arcs circled around him. With him as the center, the powerful 5 heaven-shaking lightning technique's power intertwined within a few feet radius. Any Ain spirit that came within a few feet radius of him was turned into ashes. However, the Ain spirits in this place were still charging forward fearlessly. One after another, they were shattered by the thunder force outside Lin Tian's body. Just like that, for a moment, the sound of the thunder force's destruction echoed continuously. Lin Tian's footsteps were still the same, and he was not hindered at all. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the super tree of life. When he came close to the tree of life, he really felt the surging aura of life. It was too rich. Moreover, when he looked up, the pure white tree of life that was hundreds of feet tall looked pure and beautiful like a work of art. This kind of vitality is simply... Whooshing Crocodile's eyes were full of excitement. Feeling the aura of this tree of life at close range, he was excited and shocked. Even little Alpha Primordium's big, watery eyes were blinking, and he seemed to be surprised as well. Roar! On the periphery, many Ain spirits saw Lin Tian and the rest approaching the tree of life. They all roared and looked extremely ferocious. Speaking of which, Grandpa Crocodile had some doubts before. Whooshing Crocodile tilted his head and looked at the dense Ain spirits in the periphery, strangely. These Ain spirits were standing more than 7 feet away from the Tree of Life. They are obviously eager for this Tree of Life, but why didn't any of them come close to the Tree of Life? Why are they just watching from more than 7 feet away? It's very simple. Although they are eager for the Tree of Life and can regenerate their flesh and blood after getting enough vitality from the Tree of Life, sometimes things go in the opposite direction. The aura of life surrounding the Tree of Life here is too rich. It's not something they can bear. Once they get close, they will be crushed. For example, an appropriate amount of fire can make the water boil, but an excessive amount of fire will directly evaporate the water. Lin Tian spoke and continued. These Ain spirits are essentially undead. They are very sensitive to vitality. It is precisely because of this sensitivity to vitality that they instinctively know that they will be destroyed if they get close to this Tree of Life. So, although they are eager for the Tree of Life, they can only surround the Tree of Life. Whooshing Crocodile suddenly realized, well, what you said seems to make sense. What seems to make sense? That's the case. Lin Tian glanced at it. As his words fell, he looked at the Tree of Life in front of him again and took another step closer to the trunk of the Tree of Life. But when he took this step, his body suddenly trembled slightly. He suddenly turned his head and looked towards the east of the Tree of Life. In that direction, hundreds of feet away, there was a black hole on the surface of the ground. It was about 10 feet in diameter. On the surface, there was nothing special about it. But looking at this black hole, at this moment, he, who was at the peak of the eternal realm, felt that his spirit was about to shatter. This made a chill run down his spine. Whooshing Crocodile naturally saw his strange expression and followed his gaze. What's wrong? Is it looking? As it spoke, it also saw the black hole. Its monster body trembled immediately, and its scales stood up. Like Lin Tian, its spirit trembled violently, as if it was about to explode in the next moment. Next to it, little Taichu looked at the black hole and could not help but shudder. Obviously, it had the same feeling as Lin Tian and Whooshing Crocodile. That black hole, what's going on? It's obviously very ordinary, but why does it feel so terrifying? Whooshing Crocodile trembled. Just by looking at the black hole from this place, it felt as if its spirit was about to shatter. This was really a little scary. Lin Tian looked in that direction. The dragon patterns under his feet intertwined and spread deeper into the ground. Soon after, his expression changed slightly. This place should have been a huge battlefield in the past. Many cultivators died here, and after that, most of the life force and the corpses gathered at one point and turned into the Tree of Life. After the corpses were left there for a long time, They gradually gave off the aura of death. Due to some special reason, most of the aura of death also gathered at one point, and that point is under that black hole. Lin Tian Ondao. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes moved. You mean that most of the death chi of the countless corpses in this place has gathered in that black hole? Yes. Lin Tian nodded. Whooshing Crocodile immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. There were so many corpses in this place. At least 1,000,000 of them. Most of the death chi produced by so many corpses had gathered in that black hole. So, how terrifying was the death chi gathered in that black hole? If a peak true immortal was thrown in, he would instantly turn into pus and blood. It shuddered again. In front of it was a super tree of life with extremely rich life chi and endless benefits. However, not far away was a terrifying black hole full of death chi that could easily corrode even a peak true immortal. It was very contradictory. Lin Tian looked at the black hole from afar with shock in his eyes. However, this shock quickly disappeared. Don't worry about it. Although it's very scary, as long as you don't disturb it, the huge amount of death chi inside will not rush out. Lin Tian Ondao. Are you sure? Whooshing Crocodile asked. There was such a terrifying black hole dozens of feet away. It was fine if it didn't know about it. Now that it knew and saw it, it was naturally very concerned. At such a close distance, if the black hole suddenly changed and the terrifying death chi rushed out at Lin Tian, and the little Taichu would be in a lot of trouble. It would be very difficult to save their lives. I'm sure. Lin Tian Ondao. In this place, the super tree of life in front of it was regarded as the yang point, and the black hole that gathered a huge amount of death chi was regarded as the yin point. In fact, they had already formed an extraordinary geographical pattern. Since he controlled the dragon burial scripture, he was naturally very clear about the situation of the death chi in the black hole. He knew that it would not erupt at will. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.